Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops, time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the sky. So here's to the racers, the Oval League's pride. Through every twist and turn we ride or die. In the Grind Cup Series we find who we are, chasing glory and victory beneath the virtual stars. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. Racing in the Grind Cup, where legends are made. The esports Oval League driving the arcade. Racing in the Grind Cup, where legends are made. The esports Oval League driving the arcade. Under the lights, engines roar, we're ready to go. The esports Oval League with the best race to show. Grinding gears, chasing dreams on the virtual track. No looking in the rear view, there's no turning back. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops, time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. The tires screech, hearts pound, adrenaline's fire. Lap by lap, chasing that finish line desire. Rookies and legends all fight for the crown, but only one will take the title down. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops, time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. So here's to the racers, the Oval League's pride. Through every twist and turn we ride or die. In the Grind Cup Series we find who we are, chasing glory and victory beneath the virtual stars. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. Racing in the Grind Cup, where legends are made. The esports Oval League driving the arcade. Racing in the Grind Cup, where legends are made. The esports Oval League driving the arcade. Under the lights, engines roar, we're ready to go. The esports oval league with the best race to show. Grinding gears, chasing dreams on the virtual track. No looking in the rear view, there's no turning back. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the sky. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge. Pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge. Drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops, time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. The tires screech, hearts pound, adrenaline's fire. Lap by lap, chasing that finish line desire. Rookies and legends all fight for the crown, but only one will take the title down. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge. Pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge. Drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge. Pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge. Drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops, time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. So here's to the racers, the Oval League's pride. Through every twist and turn we ride or die. In the Grind Cup Series we find who we are. Chasing glory and victory beneath the virtual stars. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. Racing in the Grind Cup, where legends are made. The esports oval league driving the arcade. Racing in the Grind Cup, where legends are made. The esports oval league driving the arcade. Under the lights, engines roar, we're ready to go. The esports oval league with the best race to show. Grinding gears, chasing dreams on the virtual track. No looking in the rear view, there's no turning back. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge. Pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge. Drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops, time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. The tires screech, hearts pound, adrenaline's fire. Lap by lap, chasing that finish line desire. Rookies and legends all fight for the crown, but only one will take the title down. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge. Pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge. Drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor-thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper, a split-second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the sky. So here's to the racers, the Oval League's pride. Through every twist and turn we ride or die. In the Grind Cup series we find who we are, chasing glory and victory beneath the virtual stars. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're legends of me. The esports Oval League driving the arcade. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're legends of me. The esports Oval League driving the arcade. Under the lights, engines roar, we're ready to go. The esports Oval League with the best race to show. Grinding gears, chasing dreams on the virtual track. No looking in the rear view, there's no turning back. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the sky. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor-thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper, a split-second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide.
evening, everyone, and welcome to the Flatout Racing Network's continued coverage of the 2025 season for the ESports Oval League Grind Cup Series. Nearing the end of the postseason, one step closer to determining a champion, we are in the heart of the round of 8 as we make our second trip here to the city of gamblers, Las Vegas, Nevada, and the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So far, one of our Elite 8 has transferred his way into the Final Four, that being Alan Dobbs last week in the desert at Phoenix. 7 playoff hopefuls look to lock themselves into the Final Four tonight with a victory, but we could also see a non-playoff driver go to victory lane, putting those 7 drivers having to rely on points in next week's elimination race at the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway. I'm Seth Cole, alongside of Scott Rankin. And Scott, second time we've been to this racetrack, but it's nighttime conditions. Earlier on in the season, we were in the daytime, obviously a lot slicker, the track a lot hotter. Do cooler conditions here tonight give these drivers a lot more options?
Yeah, look, I mean, it does mean that they can move around the track, but it's also going to pack everyone back up just a little bit more. That's generally the way that green flag racing goes. High speed, normally known as a pack racing track as well. So a little bit of that, a little bit of everything. The bumps are going to be so critical here tonight and how you handle those, because that's really the main thing taking grip away from these race cars.
Obviously, as mentioned, Talladega looms on the horizon. If you are these 7 drivers that are not locked in, specifically a quartet of drivers that are just above, just below the cut line, how much emphasis are you putting into tonight to perform so that way, even if you don't win your way into the Final Four, you can go into that wildcard superspeedway race with at least a decent enough cushion to play some defense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think tonight's probably the most critical result of the season. If you're looking to get your way into that Final Four, that's the big thing, is you can't really afford to make a mistake here tonight. You end up in the fence, it's season over. You know, that's just generically the way that's going to run.
Mentioned Dobbs is locked in with a victory. Trey Whitehead had a good run last week. He ended up coming into tonight 17 points above the cut line, so probably safe to say maybe a top 5 run here tonight. He may be able to lock himself into the Final Four on points, depending on the situation of the other playoff drivers. Tom Bourne, only 8 to the good coming into tonight. Christian Ruse, only a meager single point, currently above the cut line. He's actually the cut line driver. Peyton Holland, just 1 point below in 5th. Jeffrey Kleinsma still within striking distance. He's only 3 points below the cut line. Ryan Catalano is minus 11. Noah Jackson minus 19. Catalano had a lot of issues last week. Noah Jackson, an early retirement in that race after a hardware failure. Obviously, you got to look at those 2 Toyota drivers looking at tonight as an opportunity to bounce back, get those points that they lost. And we talked about it all season long. I think probably, Scott, the first priority for those guys, get stage points here in stage 1 and 2.
Yeah, that'll be a big thing, I think, tonight. End of lap 44, end of lap 88 are the 2 stages that they're taking a look at. And you're right. I think stage points, and we've talked about that quite excessively over the last couple of weeks, because Peyton Holland's just been so good at it. He's just lifted his game in terms of the way that he approaches the playoffs, in particular the stages. Have generated a lot of forward momentum for him. So I think that's going to be critical for him here tonight. And the other thing to think about for Holland is that I don't think he's actually had all that good a qualifying performance as well. He's all the way back down in 16th. So he's going to need something in terms of long run pace, but at most he's only 2/10 off of pole position. The field, by the way, is covered by absolutely nothing. It's 9,000ths of a second in terms of pole position, and then it's 300ths back to third in terms of Trey Whitehead, Shane Terrian's 2,000ths on that row as well. So there's nothing between those guys. It's going to be air manipulation here tonight and thinking big picture, but committing yourself to getting through to the end of, just the end of that first stage, whether it's on fuel, whether it's on strategy, whether it's on the way that you go about things is huge.
Going to have a total of 23 drivers that are going to take the green flag here tonight. And there are actually 16 drivers that could go to victory lane here this evening. That would force those other 7 drivers to have to rely on a must-win next week or points at Talladega, because we can also add Alan Dobbs into that conversation. He's already locked himself into the Final Four, and he's got the pole position here tonight, so if he has back-to-back wins here in this round of 8, that takes away a locked-in via a win spot to one of those other 7 playoff contenders. You mentioned about, Peyton Holland quite a ways back there in the starting lineup. Christian Ruse comes in the cut line driver, 15th, and Noah Jackson back there in 18th as well. With the nighttime conditions, how easy will it be for these drivers to charge up through the field, all while preserving these tires?
Yeah, not easy. You've either got to commit to looking after the tires or commit to getting aggressive. There's really only 2 ways about that one. So, yeah, that's sort of what are we going through their head, but I think you got to be on the front foot a little bit, hope for maybe a little bit of a lucky caution. But we've seen this field be aggressive early on and burn their tires, so that has trended me to thinking that conserving them is the best way to go. Move around is the biggest thing. Look for that open lane of air, and here comes the initial launch.
Green flag in the air, 175 laps here tonight to determine what the scenario will look like in terms of the Final 4 qualifiers next week at Talladega. As looks like the Whitehead Racing cars will get single-filed out. In first and second, Alan Dobbs in the 35, Trey Whitehead in the 23, who immediately jumps up to the top there in that bright pink, black, and white T-Mobile Toyota Camry, and he will slingshot to the lead.
Yeah, he's looking to take everything he possibly can and run with it. He'll be looking to manage and control the air, though, from here. But it was a big move initially and earlier. That says exactly what Trey's thinking. I'm thinking Dobbs might just be holding back just a fraction. I'm curious about whether or not he's conserving a little bit of fuel, whether or not this might be a fuel race to the end of the first stage.
Yeah, you mentioned, 44 laps here for the first stage, so maybe that fuel window somewhere around the 40 lap mark. Maybe have them just a little short. It's 3 wide here for the third, make that 4th position. That's Ryan Catalano on the charge. He took Matthew Rodriguez and Shane Tyrion 3 on the front straightaway, right down on that apron. That is considered inbounds. The white line is just a guideline here. You can go down there to advance your position, specifically through that tri-oval front stretch area there. And we'll probably see a lot of drivers utilize that little bit of a shortcut during the course of this race.
Yeah, you can use it, but it is risky. Whoa, there we go.
Big save for Shane Tyrion as he got all sorts of loose going down there to the apron. Wild ride through the infield grass, kind of caught a little air, but able to bring it back safely up into traffic. He'll continue on, but I think he was around 6th when he had the problem. He's now back to the 12th, make it 13th position.
Yeah, so some work to do for him. I believe he was actually 4th when he crossed the start-finish line, so he was definitely got some work to do. And the other thing is, I'm making sure tonight, so you'll hear me go quiet right around each of the stages, and there's a good reason for that. And the reason is, I'm going to try and make sure that we've got live points to work with, or at least I can talk us through them.
On board here with Noah Jackson, who had that DNF last week. Might have been a little contact right there as we were on board with him between the 20 and the 25 of Rylan Faccianato, who you see in the rearview mirror drifts up almost into the door of the 71 of Brock Whitehead. Jackson started outside of the top 15, currently up into the 15th position, trying to work his way up towards the top 10. Next driver he'd have to deal with would be that flamin' hot Cheeto Chevrolet Camaro of Cody Gibson.
Yeah, so again, just a little bit of patience. There's guys going forward, guys going backward. I think it's just a little bit of smart. And the other thing I'm also seeing is I'm seeing a lot of guys moving around the track and using different lanes. So I've been, since Shane Tyrion's gone to the back, he's moved to the high side and hanging on to that momentum. But have a look at the field spread that we're already starting to see as well. Is that there's sort of this pocket from about 8th place, a little bit of an air hole, a little bit further back. You just see little breaks in the field, but that pace is really, really, really high early on here.
Dalton McKinney,
Yeah, Dobbs is definitely
two-time winner.
fuel saving. He's saving something.
Yeah, he's all the way back right now in the 4th position, just kind of riding behind Ryan Catalano. As Dalton McKinney, multi-time winner on the season, ended up winning that regular season finale at Daytona, followed up with a victory during the playoffs at Iowa that advanced him into the round of 12. Got eliminated from the playoffs in that round, so he comes into tonight really with nothing to lose, looking for his third win on the season. It's interesting, coming into tonight, there wasn't a whole lot of research I could do in terms of the previous race because the driver that won the previous Las Vegas race is not in the field tonight. That was Jeremy Richmond. However, if we look at the highest finisher behind him the last time we were at this venue, it'd be Christian Ruse, who comes into tonight, the cut line driver. He finished second place in that race earlier on in 2025.
Well, I can tell you, that race ended up being a fuel race, and Richmond was the only one that sort of made it work. Everyone else looked at it and went, no, it's not really going to work. But he went to work very, very early on, and there was only, I think, 2 drivers that actually made that strategy work. Everybody else went for the additional stop. Dobbs has moved his line around again. He's now moved up to the top side, trying to, I think that's related to, again, just trying to look for air. So I'm seeing a lot of guys moving around. Down here in 3 and 4, and Jeff Kleinsman's just missed the bottom as well in 3 and 4. I saw him sort of tip into 3, and the car just sort of wanted to chase itself up the track. You got to be really, really careful with that front straight, cutting the small amount that you can cut. Again, this is just that difference in lines. That's Rodriguez in behind Alan Dobbs, and those two have had beef at different points throughout the season as well. And I wonder whether or not, from Dobbs' perspective, that's just him moving around and just going, hey, I just want nothing to do, which is a smart thing. He's locked in, so he's got the opportunity over these next couple of races just to sort of do whatever, he's 2 weeks worth of patience, really. 2 weeks worth of figuring it out, figuring what he wants to do with just, having a generic vacation in the way that he goes about his racing, so.
Looks like the battle for third's closing up here. Dobbs now makes a move to the inside of Catalano, and he'll move back onto the podium position. Originally tonight, we were supposed to be at the paperclip short track of Martinsville for our second trip to that venue, but after last week, we ended up having about a half dozen drivers with disagreements and hurt feelings, and maybe better to not have that animosity roll over into a track where you can easily get some payback with a courtesy of the chrome horn like Martinsville. So here tonight, a speedway race, as you said, kind of packed up here, but a little bit more space than we would have in the confines of a short track, as Catalano hitting pit road here, 13 laps in.
Something's gone wrong. Does he have damage? Something's... I'm going to go do some research on that one. That is unexpected, but he was starting to slide backwards. I'll be right back.
So an unexpected dive to pit road for him. Looks like also Matt Metler was on pit road a couple of laps ago. Prior to that, Brandon Kelly, who's making his first start on the season here tonight, was on pit lane. And it looks like Matt Davies may have started this race from pit road. So currently we're looking at a few drivers a lap down and one driver that's just barely hanging on to the tail end of the lead lap.
Just chatted to Ryan and he said strategy move. This is about trying to win the stage. He wants to come early so that he's going to get a 30-lap run here on fresher tires. So effectively, he split the stage sort of into 3, and he's going to do 1/3 on fresh tires right up at the front, and then 2/3. So he went very, very hard from the outset and did burn his tires. And like I said, he was just starting to slide, but the other thing that was said to me, can't make it on fuel. So he's trying to win a stage here.
So interesting. You almost wonder if we may end up seeing Dalton McKinney come to pit road shortly then as well, because it seemed like there were a few drivers that right out of the gate went full court press and charged their way up through. Catalano was one, McKinney was another. He's currently now starting to get reeled in by Trey Whitehead for the race lead. So we may end up seeing the 46 make the dive onto pit road, maybe having a similar thought process in terms of strategy.
But also think about the sets of tires. We normally come into these races 6 sets of tires, and we've said it at numerous points throughout the season. You've got 2 stages up front here. And the way that, I think the best way to sort of go about it is you leave yourself 3 sets of tires at the back end of the race, 3 sets of tires up front, which means you've got 1 set of tires to play with, to tinker with in the first 2 stages. The other option is you go 1 set of tires, 1 set of tires for the first 2 stages, 4 sets to bring it home, which leaves you in a really, really strong strategy position towards the back end of the race, but it sacrifices some stage points. Some of those guys are not thinking about that, and I'm looking at basically anyone who's not in that playoff bubble. Why am I burning tires for stages? There's no point. I would much prefer to give myself a little bit of wiggle room at the back end. The big thing for me, though, is that McKenny's lap time has fallen off by about 1.2 seconds. Just taking a look at Tom Bourne, he's fallen off about 6/10, but he didn't press very hard at the front end. And remember, Tom Bourne had kneel well to start this race as well after being part of some of that stuff that happened last week. He's up to 13th, so he has cut his way through about half the field to this point. But he has been on the save plan, and now he's on the press plan. And there is a car in the barrier in 1 and 2. They just brushed it. I think it might be Chris Mackay on the outside. Yeah, here we go. Contact.
And we got one around there. That is, I believe, Patrick McQuaid on the back straightaway. And this is not the caution that Ryan Catalano wanted to see.
Yeah.
Now, he will get the free pass. He'll get the lucky dog, get back on the lead lap, but he's going to have to start tail end of the field as Patrick McQuaid, the last time we were here at Las Vegas, brought it home in a solid 6th place performance, but is the reason for the first caution here tonight. As we'll take a look and see what happened to him on the back straightaway.
Keep your eyes on this car. It's in the, he pinches. Absolutely pinches him down there. If you have a look at relative to the cars ahead of him, he's come off the wall fractionally, or he's not tracked out to the wall. And it was Chris Mackey.
Little contact with the left rear quarter panel there for Patrick McQuaid into the inside wall. Relatively light contact there, so he should be okay. Could have been a lot worse. Fortunately, quite a bit of runoff here on the apron on the backstretch. Was just outside of the top 10, a battle around the 13th position at the time.
Yeah. Racing for position back there, but yeah. The big thing is McQuaid's taken ownership of that one, and I don't necessarily think he's at fault, but he's taken ownership of it. You know, apologies. Which is, here's the thing. You got to manage the drivers that are around you, and it's very, very easy to start something. At the end of the day, one of the biggest things I say to people in sim racing is, can you point to any driver in this field as a professional? I certainly cannot. We do this here as commentators. We're not professional. We're semi-professional. But at the end of the day, we make mistakes.
Yep.
Even the professionals, they make
I was going to
mistakes.
say, yeah. Even the professionals are not mistake-free.
No, if you go in expecting the best of the best and nothing less, I'm sorry, but you're going to get disappointed. I cannot help you with that.
Human nature is human nature. At number 1 pit stall, paid off for Alan Dobbs.
Just thinking the same thing. Just thinking the exact same thing. But the other thing is, yeah, Catalano and Metler was on the same strategy. Both of them, I mean, they came trying to win the stage, but realistically for me, Catalano didn't need to do that. He was third. He was running a great position. You only throw an aggressive strategy out there when you don't have a great race car. And he looked like he had a great race car. All he's done is cost himself a lot. So
yeah, the only thing that I can possibly think of with that strategy is we've kind of seen as the playoff field has narrowed down. We've seen if you end up finishing somewhere between 5th through 10th at the end of a stage, you gain a couple of points on the drivers around you, but you don't gain a chunk. Usually to be able to gain a chunk, you got to finish up inside of the top 3 at the end of a stage, get those 10, 9, or 8 stage points, and I think that might have been what he was gunning for. Try and get a big chunk of those points back here in stage 1 and see if he can make it a little bit more manageable for stages 2 and 3 in terms of interval between him and the cut line, because he was minus 11 coming into tonight.
Yeah, he definitely had to finish, I think, the top 3. But the thing is, like, I'm sitting here and I'm saying that, right? What's his target? He's got to outscore Christian Roos over the next 2 races by 13 points.
Right.
He's also got to outscore Kleinsma and Holland. You know, and for me, he's taken a Hail Mary strategy. It's too early for a Hail Mary. That's just the way I feel about it. He's not in a position where he needs a Hail Mary. Noah Jackson has to win. Absolutely going to win it in position. I think, tonight. But he's not in a great position, was Catalano. But for me, smarter position, and that was not a smart strategy.
He, with the free pass, is going to start shotgun. Last car in the lead lap, back in the 20th position, and we're halfway through stage 1. So that's a lot of cars he's going to have to pass if he's going to get himself back up to where he was prior to hitting pit road for that alternative strategy. As we're fanning out here, double wide, 3 wide, down the back straightaway. Dobbs trying to pull away. Whitehead in second. Tanner Marr and Matthew Rodriguez, those two have kind of been locked together here even prior to the caution coming out. They're in the battle for 3rd place.
Larry Bell, I don't think, took tires, so he's a fair way up the field. McKenny's dropped on. There's a bunch of cars here with no tires. Was there contact? There was. I think it was Jeff Kleinsma. It was Jeff Kleinsma. So again, you've just got to think about, remember we were talking about, you've got 3 sets of tires for these first 2 stages, if you want to use them. If not, 2 sets of tires. But if you didn't take tires there, you've got to race to that scenario, and there's another car. It's Mackey again's in the infield.
And caution's out again. Oh, big wreck here. Dalton McKinney is also collected up in it as he slides down towards the inside wall. I believe Matt Metler may have also gotten a piece of this. There were about 2 or 3 drivers that were making contact with each other on the approach to turn 1.
Yeah, there's a few. It started between Brock Whitehead, Rylan Faccionato, and Chris Mackey.
Wide coming off of 4.
Brock Whitehead gets the fence, but I reckon Mackey was going to get in. I don't think there was enough room up there. I reckon Mackey was going to get in no matter what.
Yeah, they definitely narrowed up off that corner for sure. Now, the Dalton McKinney incident does not in any way coincide with this, at least in terms of contact. Let's see what happens to the 46. He's in his own 3-wide battle.
Yeah.
A little assistant from Matt Davies there in the 32, and Larry Bell took a shot up into the outside wall, and that was, I believe, actually Ryan White in the 38 that got into the back of McKinney.
Gee whiz. It's it's, and Davies has run high to avoid everything, and McKinney's not aware how high he is. And you got to remember, from Dalton McKinney's perspective, that's a blind spot. That is not. There is no possible way that you can see a car there. You're relying on mirrors, and mirrors as well are actually a big cost of frames. So if you have a PC that can't handle that, then you absolutely gotta turn those off. You see that mirror just on the A-pillar just to the left.
Massive impact there for Larry Bell, hard into the outside wall, and that appears to have taken Larry out of this race, so he's going to get credited for 23rd position. Looks like a few drivers on pit road getting damage repaired, including Dalton McKinney and Ryan White. I believe Brandon Kelly gets the free pass under this yellow. He was 2 laps down, so this will get him to -1. We had Matt Metler take the wave around under the previous yellow. Catalano got the free pass, so Kelly was the only driver that was eligible for the lucky dog. It gets it here. And depending on when the pace car decides to turn those lights out, we're going to be looking somewhere around maybe 15 to go in the stage.
This one, I think. Yeah. And we'll double file up. No, it's still going. Oh, here's the line. Here we go. Yeah, it'll be double filed up this time. So we will be restarting, coming to 29, which means there'll be 16 laps in the stage.
So something that I was tossing around as far as a question last week, and I'm not certain if it is actually a thing or not. We've seen stage points and playoff points accumulated from the round of 17 carry over into the round of 12, from the round of 12 to the round of 8. I don't know if points that you get, playoff points accumulated for stage points, race victories here in the round of 8 carry over into the final 4. So
No.
for Alan Dobbs,
Could be a
if that doesn't happen, then there's not really a whole lot that to be gained from winning this stage aside from continuing to pad the statistics.
Yeah, I would say it's a complete reset. It's just a one and done race to take us to the end. So
I have to see how hard Trey Whitehead races his teammate here for this stage victory, because as mentioned, Trey comes into this race 17 points to the good. I think the magic number we were given was something like 55, 56 points, and you would be mathematically locked in to the next round if you were that high above the cut line. I mean, for Trey Whitehead, if you go into Talladega 20 plus points above the cut line, that gives you a lot of freedom to be able to do some things of trying to stay out of trouble at that super speedway. So doesn't look like he got that good of a restart, though. He's not only going to lose touch with Alan Dobbs, but Tanner Marr is going to blow by him for second place.
yeah, I think there's a bunch of guys up here at the point right now that took fuel only at that stop. There are cars coming that are on fresh tires. Noah Jackson's one of them. So he's going to be in a hole in this second stage because he's already burned his set of tires, but this is to try and get him off the bottom. And this is the inverse of the Catalano strategy. This is why I said I didn't like what Catalano did. Is because they pit under green. They didn't let the race sort of develop enough. They were just like, we're committing and we're committing early. They didn't even split the race in half either. Halfway through the stage is 22. If they'd have committed to splitting the stage equally and getting the maximum out of both sets of tires, they would have been in a really, really good spot because that caution would have flown. But yeah, they came very early, which is why I didn't like it.
Double pancaking the wall there off of Ford for both Trey Whitehead and Tanner Marr. Just like that, Jackson shoots from 4th up to 2nd, and Marr finds himself in quite a situation here. He had cars to left and right all the way down the front straightaway. He's still stuck in the middle.
Yeah. Have a look at him. Still 3. Facinato's on the outside. He's on fresh tires. Terrian, I think, is on fresh tires as well. This is fresh. Gee whiz, this is fresh versus old tires. They are going everywhere. I cannot tell you that the words that are flying around in the sim are not safe for air.
We are thinking about 4 wide here on a couple of occasions from
Still
turn
coming.
4 all the way down to turn 1. We're still 3 wide. Brock Whitehead going to pass about 3 drivers in the span of 1 corner.
I've got just Matt Rodriguez in sim. Oh, there we go. I think that was Tanner Marr and Cody Gibson getting into each other. But what I just heard in sim was, holy heck, how did I end up back here? It's fresh tires versus old tires.
I was just in the top 5 a moment ago. What happened?
Tom Vaughn's on fresh tires, I think. No, I don't think he is. I think he's on old tires. He's cutting his way back through.
You are correct. We've just had an exchange for the lead here. With 11 laps to go in the stage, Noah Jackson out in front, trying to get those points back that he lost, suffering a dead last finish last week at Phoenix. A hardware failure broke the suspension in the left front. Coming into tonight, 19 points below the cut line. And think about this for Noah Jackson. He's used up the set of tires here. So obviously he's looking for the stage victory, but you could come into tonight 50 points below the cut line. If you go to victory lane, you go into Talladega knowing you're locked into the final 4.
Yeah, that's what he's thinking about, right? And the thing for Jackson is he's going to outscore Rudes by 20 points at the moment to get in. It's still significant, but he's going to overtake another 4 cars in the mix, so he has to take risks like this. This is where if he takes another risk with tires in the second stage, but he gets 2 stage wins, there's 22 points that he needed to get his way back.
Goes up to
So
second.
for him, that's big. That's huge. That's so smart. Right? Yeah, Catalano's back as well.
Yeah, he got the lucky dog back during the first caution. got trapped a lap down trying an alternative strategy, came down pit road, took fuel only, and has been able to work his way from restarting 19th now up to the runner-up position. So maybe not quite the path to stage points that he was originally planning, but right now it appears to be working.
Well, yeah, big risk, but he would have been in panic mode when that caution flew. So, like I said, it's about track position, about setting yourself up, and it wasn't smart. I think the big thing is that if more drivers in this first stage had elected to take a set of tires, he wouldn't be here. That's how few elected to take a set of tires. Dalton McKenny, by the way, back to 6th spot.
Patrick McQuaid, who we saw spun out on the back straightaway for our first yellow, he's up into the top 5 just ahead of McKenny in 5th. We just saw Rylan Faccianato has worked his way up into the 3rd position, and a few of these drivers, including the 25, the 77, the 46, these are all drivers on those fresh tires.
So, I tell you, Matt Rod's having a lot of fun tonight. His radio just keeps lighting up. It's just funny. It's just funny stuff that's...
So interesting, we're coming to 5 to go, and a number of those drivers we were talking about coming into tonight around that cut line currently are in position to gain no stage points in stage 1. Tom Bourne is just outside of the top 10 and 11th. Christian Ruse is in 14th. Peyton Holland in the 15th position. So for those drivers, they could be in a little bit of trouble, especially if Catalano and Jackson end up finishing 1-2 here in stage 1.
Yeah, this is huge, isn't it? This is just single-handedly going to tighten up this playoff picture. I think the drivers we actually got to talk about is Wes Kleinsma. He's 10th. He's 10th fighting for 9th. He is on fresh... Kleinsma's on fresh tires, Seth. And he's made no impact with them.
Just now getting by Trey Whitehead there, going to block him for that 9th position.
But the big thing is, where's Tom Bourne and all this? So the drivers we actually got to take a look at is Bourne's not getting any stage points right now, but he's just outside. He's banked a set of tires. Peyton Holland, no stage points. That's critical because he's -1 of the cut line. Christian Ruse, no stage points. Jeff Kleins was getting a couple of stage points. So what's going to happen at the end of this stage is that you're going to see Catalano is going to clear Jeff Kleinsma, which means he moves up just shy of the cut line. We are going to have driver Peyton Holland, Catalano, and Kleinsma are going to be -1, -2, -3 to the cut line at the end of this stage. How's that for tight?
Wow.
Noah Jackson, give him 11 points. He's going to be -8. So you're going to have, your 4 drivers below the cut line covered by 7 points.
Now we could end up having a scenario like that, depending on what happens in stage 2, and obviously the finishing results going into Talladega next week. I mean, it's got to be nerve-wracking enough when you're a driver going in and you have to think, okay, I need to gain 5 to 10 points on the cut line. But you go in and you're like, well, I'm 1 point to the good or 1 point to the bad. All it takes is getting swept up in one wreck, and there goes my Final Four hopes. I don't think any driver wants that kind of a scenario.
I think that's exactly where it is right now as well. And there's going to be a big battle for the last points paying position. We are on the final lap of this stage 2.
And an interesting battle going on here. Dalton McKenny reeling in Ryan Catalano, who lost second to Rylan Faccianato. So that's a valuable point that he lost there in this stage. He's trying to at least hang on for 8 stage points, and looks like he will do so, keeping McKenny in the rearview mirror. But big points gains here for 2 drivers that really needed it after the hardships last week of Phoenix. A playoff point, 10 valuable stage points for Noah Jackson, 8 stage points for Ryan Catalano.
And critically as well, think about, lap sled as well. That's also lap sled for Noah Jackson. That is bonus points as well. That is very, very relevant.
So Noah Jackson picking up the stage victory, half of the top 10 going to be comprised of playoff drivers. Dobbs in 6th, and Kleinsma will net a couple of stage points with a 9th place finish. Trey Whitehead will get 1 as he will cap off the top 10. But as you alluded to, Bourne, Holland, Ruse, 0 in the stage points received so far here tonight at Vegas.
Just taking a little bit of a look. Just want to make sure that everything's calculated. Okay.
So looking real quickly here, as you're calculating that up, of the drivers that took tires back during that last caution, all of them finished inside of the top 9, with the exception of 2 drivers that finished up there, that being Ryan Catalano and Alan Dobbs. Those 2 went fuel only on the pit stop. So we definitely see that the tire gamble here, yes, you'll be down a set later on in this race, but for those that needed the points, the gamble paid off.
Yeah, that it did. I'm just trying to net it at the moment, so that we have something sort of to work with, because my calculator was working before, suddenly just decided, nope, it's not going to work anymore. So
it looks like Brandon Kelly is going to get the lucky dog, gets back on the lead lap. So the 20 drivers that took the green to start this race, or the 22 drivers I should say, they will all be on the lead lap. The only driver out of the race, Larry Bell, in 23rd. And it looks like, for the most part, everybody's going to take on a set of tires with the exception of 1. And that's Rylan Faccianato. Interesting. Came to pit road on the last caution, took on a set of tires, charged up to 2nd place, but comes down fuel only here at the conclusion of stage 1.
yeah, so that I don't necessarily think this is a big idea. McKenny's, these guys are just making a play for track position, basically. So this will be tricky, I think, for them. But yeah, this is not easy. They're gonna fall like stones as soon as we get going here.
They're gonna find himself on about 20 to 25 lap older tires than everybody else around him. As we mentioned, 22 drivers on the lead lap, and 21 of those 22 came down and took on a set. So looks like a couple of drivers are coming back down pit road here, including Tom Bourne, Matthew Rodriguez, Peyton Holland. This may be to top off the fuel tank here. Going to be going back green with 40 laps to go in stage number 2. Dalton McKenney and Rylan Faccianato, a couple of Chevrolet bow ties, looking for the Chevy sweep here at Las Vegas. Toyotas will make up the next 2 rows with Jackson and Dobbs in row 2. Brock Whitehead, Ryan Catalano, row 3.
Got some math for you. Right, at the end of that stage, we now have Christian Ruse in 50-46. He is the cut line driver. He scored no points in that stage. Peyton Holland and Peyton Holland sits -1. Those guys don't change. Neither of them scored any points in the stages. But the big change is now Jeff Kleinsma is level on points with Ryan Catalano. They are 3 points to the cut line, so 3 points to Christian Ruse, and Noah Jackson sits 7 points to the cut line.
So it has narrowed up for sure amongst 5 of our playoff championship 4 hopefuls. Stage 2 now ready to play its part as McKenney with a great launch. Jackson into 2nd. Oh, we got a wreck in the back. That's Kleinsma.
Oh, that's
hard
Kleinsma.
Into the inside wall.
Tom Bourne's in it. No, don't tell me.
Might have been a harmless spin. I didn't see him make contact with anything. Cannot be said the same for Jeff Kleinsma, though. That car headed straight down to the inside wall, took a pretty good shot with the right front. I saw Patrick McQuaid around in the middle of the pack as well. And here's a look at what happened off of 2.
Oh, he just come up a little bit.
Of Kyle Wellman.
Oh, that I reckon the right front's off that car of Klein's. It nearly hit dead on. He's going to have a lot of damage here. As is Tom Bourne. Tom Bourne's got a lot of front end damage. No, I think he actually got out okay. On the replay, it looked like he had damage.
Take another look. It looks like Wellman may have tried to shoot up the middle 3 wide here. Oh, it got loose. You could see the back end step out and the front end of the car shoot up to the right into Patrick McQuaid. And that sends him down into Kleinsma. Kleinsma didn't even hit the safer barrier. He ended up hitting like that 45-degree corner area of the wall where the safety vehicles exit out onto the backstretch. So even the degree of the wall, the impact you make can determine just how much damage you're going to sustain. And we're going to take a look here now at Tom Bourne's wild ride. And this was in reaction to avoiding Patrick McQuaid ahead of him. Just gets the inside. Oh, no, he made contact.
He did, yeah.
With the right front.
As well, on pit road, Rylan Facinato actually just got his left rear corner as well. So there might be damage on the left rear and front right corners of that car. So Facinato was coming out of his stall. Bourne was coming in. And Tom Bourne just took a set of tires. He was fuel only at the stage.
Now remember too, when you were running down the point scenario there, you didn't mention Tom, but he didn't score any stage points either, so he would still be sitting 8 to the good above the cut line involved in this wreck. That could end up drawing him back closer into that conversation where the points have already narrowed up below the cut line.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. He's not safe at any stage, and that's the issue.
Jeff Kleinsma involved in this wreck. This is going to help Catalano and Noah Jackson. Catalano at this point, I think the live points would have him ahead of Kleinsma. Maybe the same for Noah Jackson with the both of them running up inside of the top 5. Kleinsma is actually going to lose at least a lap as they are still repairing that Chevrolet on pit road.
Problem for Jeff is that, yeah, I don't think he has. He's just got to try and get he's got a stage caution coming up, and actually he's lost a lap here. Taking a quick look, he does not have a meatball flag, which is the good news, meaning he can get back out there and circulate.
Kleinsma, the last time we were here at Vegas earlier on this season in early February, finished inside of the top 10, 9th place. Actually ran well, finished well in the stages also, but trouble here in stage 2 for one of our 7 remaining drivers looking to advance their way into the final 4. Looks like he's returned to the track, albeit 1 lap down. He's the only driver right now that would be eligible for the Lucky Dog. The other 21 drivers all in the lead lap, so he's hoping for a quick yellow here to get back on the lead lap. Question is going to be just how up to speed is that car going to be for the remainder of tonight's race, as Noah Jackson getting ready to put us back under the green flag here tonight at Las Vegas. Great launch for the inside line. He'll leave him side by side for second. The Whitehead brothers, Brock and Trey, give the spot to Brock as Trey loses a few spots. It looks like, I don't know if there's maybe a spinning of the tires up there in that outside groove, or if it's just whatever driver it is in the outside of the front row is not able to time when the lead of the control car goes, but it almost seems like there's a huge mile-per-hour deficit of that outside front row driver going into 1.
Well, remember back to Indy and how bad the restarts were at Indy. If you're on the outside of the front row, you lost 2 spots, guaranteed. And that was just purely because you're at the whim. You got to remember, if you're in the front row, you actually have a number flashing up on your dash. You have to match a certain mile per hour. you can't roll into it, and therein lies the advantage of the leader. He knows when he's going, so he just maintains launch. Then you've got to add in reaction times and where you are in the engine sort of torque, like where is it delivering the most power. Some tracks it just naturally happens at the worst spot on the torque curve, basically, for the RPM. So this could be one of those. But yeah, also bad restart technique as well. We'll also play into that.
Ooh, got a couple in the wall there.
Wall.
I couldn't tell if that was Brock Whitehead, Chris Mackey, or maybe the both of them off of turn 2.
Well, it's definitely Brock. Brock definitely got it. Mackey might have followed it in. No, Mackey didn't get it. It was just Brock Whitehead. Can confirm, went back and had a look. The difficult part is Catalano is generally not very good on the long run on tires. He's sort of early to medium stint pace is okay, but if you're going to work someone over, you know, I just work Catalano over and basically get him into a position where he chases his own tires, and that's what you're seeing here. Is he's making moves, he's getting towards the front, but he's burning it to get here. So you can rest assured, give him 10 laps and he'll start drifting backwards, but he's got to be...
Oh, no! Into Alan Dobbs. Dobbs coming back up the track. He's going to get Peyton Holland.
You're kidding me. Is that another one in a reactionary?
Trying to see, it does not look like that left front tire is facing the correct direction for the 19.
No, he's done. He's done. That's see it bouncing around?
Yeah.
It's not attached. He's done.
Contact between a couple of playoff drivers off of turn 4. Another playoff driver swept up in it. Holland, who came into tonight below the cut line, may be going into Talladega next week in a must-win situation. Let's go back and take a look, and we kind of saw this earlier on as well, with one driver on the bottom kind of drifting up, another driver coming off the wall, and I think that's kind of what happens here with the 35 and the 92.
You can just see, I think Ryan just wanders up the racetrack. Dobbs is expecting him to cut down.
Oh, and then right there,
Yeah.
Matthew Rodriguez just barely gets through. Peyton Holland hoping that he's going to be able to get through as well, and the door just closes up at the last minute.
Yeah.
Another look at it. Watch how close this is going to be when the 35 comes back up the track. The 10 of Rodriguez. Wow. Oh, he got the wall as well, did Rodriguez, because he had to turn up on a dime there. So that's some pretty significant right side damage to his Toyota also.
Yeah, I'm not seeing meatball flags for either of them. And there is no fast repair. So both of those cars, actually, sorry, my apologies. I do see the meatball flag. Peyton Holland's done. You know, I actually think he is done. So there's going to be, he might be the first eliminated. Well, he's not eliminated. He's going to be in a winner.
He's in a must-win for sure.
Yeah.
I think back to what he was able to do in the round of 12, specifically at Bristol. Easily pointed his way into the round of 8, and this round of 8 has not been all that friendly to him. He didn't have the best of luck. He didn't have horrible luck, but he was just kind of 50-50 last week at Phoenix, and now tonight caught up in that impact we just showed you is on board with here. Currently off the lead lap. They're trying to get something repaired to salvage the night, but effectively takes him out of stage points as well. I believe that... Well, I thought Jeffrey Kleinsma was going to be the free pass, but he's back on pit road for more damage repairs, so it looks like there is no free pass.
Yeah, it looks like he did get the free pass because he was at 1 lap down, but he's basically taken his 1 lap down and then gone to the pit lane to just get as much damage as he physically can get repaired. He's coming off a pit lane now, so he should stay. He's going to stay at 1 lap down. That's what he's doing. Is he's basically getting his lap back, and then he sits for an extended period of time on pit lane, and goes back to 1 lap down because he knows he's going to get another caution at the stage at the end of, was it 88? Yeah, end of 88. So, provided he's the only car 1 lap down, he can just keep repeatedly doing that, and he will actually be in a better position as a result.
Green flag back in the air here with 29 laps to go in stage 2. You alluded to it. They have just now pushed the number 19 of Peyton Holland back behind the wall. 22nd is where he'll be scored here tonight. Must win to get to the Final Four next week at Talladega.
Yeah, he's done. Oh my word.
Comes Brock Whitehead. Looking to the inside of Noah Jackson. Whitehead finding victory lane for the first time this season back at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Would love to get his second checkered flag of the 2025 season. Trey Whitehead now going to move by Ryan Catalano for the 3rd spot, with Chris Mackey currently holding down 5th. Saw him have some early issues. A nice comeback for him up inside of the top 5. And see Catalano fading back from 2nd now to 4th. Is this about the stage that you would have been talking about if we had been green, where we would have maybe seen the pace fall off of the 92?
A little bit, but at the same time as well, consider where he sits. Remember, we don't know that we can actually make the fuel on this 2nd stage, right? So it would have been tight before. These couple of cautions might have ticked us over that marker.
There are a few drivers back there that did come to pit road the caution prior to this most recent one and did top off. Oh, contact there. Big save by Christian Ruse as he had Cody Gibson in his left rear quarter panel.
Oh, they're looking for wide down the front straight. This is no.
Arian shooting up the middle. That 42, that white and pink number 42 of Kyle Wellman. He was one of those drivers that came down and topped off. Same for the truck, the car to his outside there, the 16 of Tom Bourne.
Remember, Bourne was checking that car over. There was actually no damage on it. It's going to be contact. I think it's Brendan Kelly in the 12 in the middle. So he's going to start going backwards. There's still 3 wide. Gee whiz. Back down. They're going to be 3 wide in the back. And there's Dobbs still trying to cut his way back through as well.
And that spin, Dobbs now looking for. Not going to be clear on the 12. Nearly spins him out, and Kelly is going to spin into Dalton McKinney. Oh, and McKinney going to make further contact there with that tire wall on the back straightaway. Sixth caution of the evening.
A lot of them tonight.
Now, the last time we were at Las Vegas, there were 13 cautions for 39 laps, so we're nearly halfway to that here this evening. But you mentioned it, before they took the green flag tonight, that the field was going to be all wadded up, and when that's the case, it's when we end up seeing drivers running out of room. Little extra contact there for Patrick McQuaid as well. So let's go back to the initial contact there, and it kind of almost looked like, it was 4 wide going into the corner, and it kind of looked like Dobbs, he had a run, but there just wasn't enough room to try that.
Well, no, he had enough room. There was actually enough room to go 4 wide. It was given. Fortunato got elbowed up the track, and then Kelly's trying to turn back down like there's no one underneath him. But there is someone underneath him, so you can't, yeah. The thing is, with the shorter way around the racetrack, somebody's always going to fill that hole. But you just can't turn down the track into that hole.
Looks like Jeffrey Kleinsma, to your point, lost that lap, getting more damage repaired. This caution gives him the free pass. He's back on the lead lap once again. Do have some drivers hitting pit road here. About a half dozen or so, including Dobbs, McKenney, Tanner Marr on pit lane, Matthew Rodriguez. For some of these drivers coming down for damage repair, but with now going to be 22 laps to go when we cross the stripe here, are some of these drivers coming down, using a set of tires to maybe make a bid, get up here and snipe some stage points from the drivers that are on these older tires?
Yeah, potentially. A good opportunity in the middle of the stage as well. But remember, you've also got a bunch of guys here that burned that extra set in the first stage. So, a bit of a reset for them.
I want to remind everybody that the playoffs here for the 2025 Grind Cup Series are sponsored by Top It Off Hot Sauce. Head to topitoffsauce.com, and if you use the code PLAYOFF25, that's playoff all caps 25, you get 15% off of your entire order. Thank you to Top It Off Hot Sauce for sponsoring the playoffs here for the 2025 Esports Oval League Grind Cup Series.
It's going to be an interesting one now. We're going to have ourselves 21 laps to the end of this stage. And I get the feeling that everyone can make it on fuel now.
Jackson Catalano, who scored big points in stage 1 up here in the first 2 rows. Tom Bourne also right there in the 10th position, trying to build a cushion between him and the cut line. Christian Ruse just ahead of him, going to restart in P8. 1 point above the cut line, but that was before Peyton Holland had his issue that put him behind the wall, and Jeffrey Kleinsma has been finding himself having to rely on a couple of lucky dogs. Matter of fact, same story as the last caution, got the free pass, got the lap back, and now is back on pit road for another extended repair, giving that lap back. So right now, if you're Christian Ruse, I think your goal is just keep all the fenders on that thing, because a lot of the drivers around you are having issues. You're gonna, if you're able to at least bring the car home in one piece, things are treading in the direction you're gonna be above the cut line going into Dega next week.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Is that he's still +3 to Kleinsma and he's +3 to Catalano. But the thing is, Catalano is having a great stage again as we get back on the restart. I don't know how Catalano is going to go on the final stage, but at the moment this is really, really working for him. He's gotta hang on. If he can bank just a couple more points in this stage, he's going to be on that cut line, if not above it.
To your point, wrapping the bottom, trying to get Brock Whitehead here for 3rd place.
Jackson's starting to suffer a little bit as well. And the best thing that Brock can do right now, both offensively and defensively, is actually just put his car on the outside of his teammate and brother's car. Because that just says to the guys behind, we're racing here. But we've already seen a lot of 3-wide situations thus far tonight. So, you know, Catalano is going to be incentivized to go after it a little bit. But you can just see, going through the corners, you can't chase him. You got to look for that clean air. You just cannot follow the car ahead of you through the corners. And it's trying to read whether you can get a nose underneath them or not is the big issue. I think Trey's suffering at the moment.
We were leaning on each other back here with Dobbs and Kyle Wellman, Rylan Faccianato. It was a very tight 3-wide formation off of turn 2. They were able to keep it all together here, but that could have very easily been our next caution.
Yeah, very easily. Kleinsman and McQuaid about both now 1 lap down as well, so there is going to be a little bit of a battle for that one. And the thing is, there's a few cars that are a little bit off pace now. So this becomes, if we get a long green flag run, this is risky. But the other thing for Jeff is I think he recognizes he hasn't really got much of an alternative direction that he can head into. Catalano's just picked off Trey Whitehead. It's on. Basically, the thing about tonight is you look anywhere around the field, it's on.
Just as good racing for 14th, 15th place as it is up here inside of the top 5. Couple of cars brushing the wall here off of turn 2 as Catalano trying to clear Trey Whitehead for third. Whitehead gonna charge right back here off the exit of turn 4, and nobody has seemed to venture up consistently as high here at Las Vegas as Brock Whitehead in that second position as Catalano throws a big block on Mackey, who's all in his left rear quarter panel.
And Mackey's already had some issues tonight, so I do wonder how clearly he's thinking right now.
Up the
Oh,
track,
Mackey got tight.
and here comes Bourne 3 wide.
Ruse is in it. This is critical for Ruse. He's got to just keep picking these guys off. He can't get out here and go, I've got to burn my stuff up. He's just got to keep being... Oh, who got into him? Was that Wellman? I think Wellman got into him.
Yep.
Yeah, it was.
And Wellman's around on the back straightaway. May have also clipped the 32 of Matt Davies. And now we're going to get ourselves a restart somewhere around 10 to go. If you're the leaders, you got 28 laps on your tires. Granted, not all of them green flag laps. Do you have to come to pit road here? Are we that close enough to the end of the stage? You got to pit, or can you wait until the end of stage 2?
I think, well, we're going to have about 10 laps here, and we've already seen from that first stage just how much fresh tires work. But the other thing is, think about how gummed up... I reckon we get another caution, right? So I'm staying out. And the other thing to consider is we have a bunch of guys up the point that have already played their hand. So you Jackson... Your Catalano, they've already burned their set in this first half of the race. They don't have the opportunity. Well, they can come, but they can come for a set of fresh tires, but they're compromising the second half of the race. They will go back green with maybe 2 sets left, unless they take no tires at the end of the stage. But stage points are that critical to their championship.
That was our winner from a couple of weeks ago at Auto Club, Shane Tyrion, that we were riding on board with. You saw Wellman get loose in front of him, and there was contact made with the front end of the 38 car. Watch the blue number 32 there, bottom of your screen. He's going to get a good shot there into right around, maybe behind that right front tire.
There's a bunch of damaged race cars now. Jeff Kleinsman's got to be really, really careful here. I don't think he's in a position where he can keep staying off the lead lap anymore. It's worked for him to this point in time, but I think now he's just got to try and stay on the lead lap.
You mentioned about all of those damaged cars, and you know, this is a 1.5-mile racetrack, but what we've seen here tonight reminds me a lot of what we saw at the 2-mile speedways Auto Club in Michigan, where it's really all about momentum. If you slide up, if you brush the wall, if you breathe the throttle for just the least amount of a moment, there's going to be somebody behind you that's willing to keep their foot in the gas, and they're going to be willing to take advantage of you and pick up that spot. Really, it's almost kind of a precision type racetrack here tonight. You cannot afford to have a lap with a flaw in it, or else it's going to cost you track position.
Yeah. Difficult decisions.
So I was going to mention this before that caution came out, and we were seeing some of that that contact mid-pack. Brock Whitehead right now in the second position. He has been running about the highest consistently in the corners of anybody here tonight, and he's been making it work. He's been picking up 1 to 2 spots every single restart using that outside line, and I have been noticing a few more drivers taking note of that, migrating their way up there to the outside wall. We've not really seen a lot of drivers venture up there, so it's not rubbered in, so drivers try to take advantage of that clean racetrack.
I think taking advantage of clean racetrack is important as well, because it's not just get up there and get out there. You definitely want some grip laid down. That much is for sure, because the tire's grip, but you don't want a lot, because you also want the tire to rotate. If the tire's just glued to the racetrack, it doesn't rotate. You know, it sort of gets glued in. So you know, thinking big picture, moving around. I think it's all about the clean air, though. I think that's the bigger part. Kleinsman's taken the risk, by the way. He has gone back to 1 lap down. I think Carl Wellman might be done for the day.
He's on pit road still. Gonna more than likely lose a second lap here as we go back green. Kleinsman's gonna have to fight Patrick McQuaid for the lucky dog. Those two both -1 on this restart with 18 drivers on the lead lap. Noah Jackson had his hands full with Brock Whitehead during that last run. Good launch for him here. He's going to clear the 71, but he's got another Whitehead to worry about in his back bumper in the form of Trey.
Yeah, and that, again, it's just, you know, set yourself up for success. What can I do to push my way forward? Short run of the flag here. This is critical for a number of drivers. And for think about Jackson. He is in such an important spot. He was 19 out prior to tonight's race. If he sweeps the stages, that's 22 points. He could be above the cut line here.
It's incredible. I mean, you voiced it continuously during the regular season. You said it was going to be even more important in the playoffs. Stage points, stage points, stage points. Just to your point there, could go from in a dire situation to in a bit of a comfortable situation, be able to play full offense here for the rest of the night, headed for Talladega next week if you're Noah Jackson and able to come away with the Las Vegas sweep of the stages tonight.
Tanner Ma's the only guy who's gone for fresh tires under cautions recently. He came at the end of 65, so it's a couple cautions ago. The sheen has definitely come off of those tires, but I just had a quick look, he's actually not making progress, so I wonder whether or not that was damage repair, not necessarily tires. If that's the case, I mean, he did get involved in a couple of those cautions as well. It's critical, but he's just not making the ground that I think he wants to, he needs to.
Something else I noticed as well, we saw Shane Tyrion get a little bit of front-end damage there with Kyle Wellman on that most recent yellow. They did not bring his number 38 to pit road, and he's currently holding on to the 9th position. So whatever contact, whatever damage he might have sustained, doesn't look like it's affecting him all that badly.
Have a look at Tom Bourne now. He's gone all the way to the top rope, trying to build some momentum, trying to crack this top 3. Remember, this is 3 teammates. This is one of the hardest things you'll ever do in racing. And they've raced each other a little bit, and they've definitely shown that they want to race each other, but cracking open a team full of drivers is about one of the toughest things that you'll ever do, because when you need the draft, they'll take it away from you. When you need a little bit of support, you ain't getting it. So cracking open a team, and when Dobbs joins them up here, it's 4 cars. This is nigh on impossible. And Bourne's actually going to grab the wall.
Yes, he is. Saw those flares coming off of the right rear quarter panel there. You documented the history between Bourne and Dobbs. As a matter of fact, the driver that was up there taking away his clean air was Brock Whitehead. Yeah, he and Bourne actually got into it last week, so...
That was very intentional from Whitehead. That's about the cleanest thing that Brock Whitehead can do while still voicing his displeasure, is just aero block.
Catalano still up here in the top 10 in 6th. Ooh, big lift there from Chris Mackey off the exit of turn 2 as Matthew Rodriguez crawling on the bottom of the racetrack there, multiple laps down in the 10.
He's done. He's just figuring his car out. What have I got? Can I actually rejoin this one safely? He's cleared that meatball flag though now, so the car is technically legal to return to the race surface, but it'll be feeling very secondhand.
Catalano may have missed the entry to the corner right there, drifted up the track and nearly found himself 3 wide with Mackey and Tyrion off of 2. Clears the both of them now, running behind Christian Ruse. Kurt Gibson right now holding down that, or Cody Gibson, I'm sorry, holding down that final spot inside of the top 10. If we're looking at playoff drivers here, nearing the end of stage 2 that would not be in line for stage points. Not quite as many as there were at the conclusion of stage 1. Most drivers that have run into issues here during the course of the stage, Jeff Kleinsma and Peyton Holland, look like the only 2 right now that would not be in line to get any form of stage points.
How's this for both of those drivers as well? They came into tonight's race -1 and -3 to the cut line. They came in sitting here and going, all right, you know, just a reasonable night at the office, and we actually might find ourselves on the inside of the playoff picture. And they've not had it. But think about Catalano and think about Jackson. They've run nearly supreme nights, and they've been the furthest away from being in. So realistically, heading to next week, I think it's Peyton Holland who's going to be last in terms of the points, and then Jeff Kleinsma, and they're going to be so far back because they've scored no stage points. We were saying the same thing about Peyton Holland a couple of weeks ago at Bristol, remember? He was just about done for, and then stage points resurrected his season.
Guarantee you I am going to be poring over the previous results from Daytona, our last trip to Talladega, looking to see who may statistically have the best shot, but it may be work for nothing because it's always a wild card racetrack when you go to a super speedway, and may just throw all those stats out the window depending on what happens next week at the High Banks in Talladega, Alabama, as the proverbial white flag is in the air. Gonna be a big comeback run here, and we're only halfway through the night for Noah Jackson. Cashed in with the stage victory in stage 1, putting him even closer to the cut line, and now may find himself above the cut line as he'll net another 10 valuable stage points, sweeps the stages here tonight at Vegas.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. That is absolutely phenomenal. So, what about Chris Roos? Roos managed to finish 7th, so he's going to pick himself up 4 points.
Trey Whitehead looks like he's going to get a total of, I believe, I want to say 11 points here between the two stages, so looking to extend his gap between himself and the cut line. He was plus 17 coming into tonight. Tom Bourne, big stage for him, 5th place, and Catalano in 8th. So for Jackson and Catalano, at least can kind of check the boxes here, 2 of those boxes, which is get stage points in stage 1, stage points in stage 2.
So this moves the needle now. We have a dead heat on the cut line. Chris Roos and Noah Jackson are dead even on points. The big difference as well, 2 stage wins, 2 stage bonus points, plus laps led. The other thing right now is that Noah Jackson has led the bulk of laps. So let's actually add him an extra stage point. So he now becomes +1 to Chris Roos, who is now -1. So that's incredibly tight. Then it's a 5-point difference further back. So Ryan Catalano moves to -6. He came into tonight -11. So there's a net positive night for him. And if Noah Jackson hadn't actually have swept both of the stages, he would be on the inside. How important is that? That Catalano would, sorry, he wouldn't be on the inside. He'd only be -4. He's had a supreme night in terms of the stages. He's now going to rebuild and make sure. I would not want to head to Talladega with a negative next to my name. That's just too. You're asking for too much.
It's interesting you brought up that bonus point for leading the most laps. Really just kind of thinking back to what we've had so far here in these first 90 laps, I can only really think of 3 drivers that have been up there at the race lead for a pretty good majority of time. Jackson obviously being one of them, Dalton McKinney, and Alan Dobbs, our pole sitter. If you look back at the last Vegas race, that battle for most laps led was under contest between 3-4 different drivers. We had Alan Dobbs lead 44 laps, Dalton McKinney led 40, DJ Daniels led 30, and Chris Otto led 25. We've not really seen that kind of diversity here in terms of drivers out in front in this night race that we saw when we ran this race back in the day in February.
A different race, guys on different tire strategies. Tires really mattered in that race. But like we said, it was fuel that ended up deciding the day. So a couple different directions, couple different thought processes back to there. The grip level significantly higher. We were actually having a lot of problems with loose race cars back then. Now it's actually tight race cars. At Vegas, if you overdrive the tires in the day, what ends up happening is that basically after about 25 laps, the car just wants to spin and kill you in every single corner. So it's very difficult to look after. But if you only ever get runs of green flag that are less than 20 laps, because you know everyone's going to do the same thing, then you want to be a little bit more aggressive. But a little bit different here, but that's some of the tire strategy coming in.
So we've already established Peyton Holland's going into next week in a must-win situation. He's done for the night. Jeff Kleinsma gets the free pass once again. And I was going to ask you, is there a scenario for Kleinsma here this evening to go into Talladega still with a chance of pointing his way into the Final Four and avoiding the must-win scenario, or with Catalano and Noah Jackson being able to cash in on stage points here in both of the stages this evening, does that immediately move the 15 to must-win next week?
The marker for me, Seth, becomes, I think it's stage points. I think it all comes down to stage points. If the guys that we're talking about don't score stage points next week, look, I'm going to even put Peyton Holland out there and just say he's not in a must-win situation, but he needs to win, I would say, at least one of the stages and finish second in the other. If he does that, he's back to not a must-win situation, but a must-finish in the top 5 situation. That's sort of the night he's got to have, is sort of a win, a top 3, and a top 5 to get him home. For everyone else, if they score average in the stages and one of the drivers above them doesn't, all of a sudden it comes down to not having, you can't have a bad night next week. You have to put points on the board in both stages for me.
Well, the stage points gained and or lost here tonight have made things very interesting around the cut line, but now, as we cross into the second half of this race, it's time to determine a winner here tonight at Las Vegas. Noah Jackson, the stage sweeper, gets us back under green. Alan Dobbs, who started this race from the pole, gonna be under contest with Brock Whitehead for the second position, and then Trey Whitehead looking on in fourth. Right now, Toyotas have swept the top 5 positions.
Yeah. And it is very interesting just to sort of see how everyone's going about this one. And again, just seeing the levels of aggression, Catalano is being very, very aggressive with how he drives this race car up towards the point. You're just seeing them all move around again, looking for clean air.
So it was interesting, we never were able to get quite a clear read on just how far these drivers could go on fuel. We thought maybe we'd get an idea when we were trending green back in stage 1, but some late cautions ended up kind of foiling that. With us going back green with 83 laps to go, what's your confidence level that these drivers can make it the rest of the scheduled distance on only just one pit stop?
It is extremely tight, and I think you have to be fuel saving. We get one caution though, and it's an easy one-stopper. So right now, if the caution was to flag right now, it's a one-stopper guaranteed for everyone on the field. But if you don't save, you're in a little bit of trouble.
Tight battling here. Whoa, big lift there for Cody Gibson. He's gonna go around off the nose of Ryan Catalano. I think he saved it, and now the caution's out.
Yeah.
He had it saved and then had to overcorrect it to avoid the inside wall, bringing out the yellow, and there's the one you were talking about. Everybody now knowing that they can make it the rest of the way on one pit stop. So we'll probably, well, actually, no, I don't know. Would we see drivers come to pit road here, or would they stay out and just save fuel under pacing?
They'd stay out and save fuel. That's enough to save out and save fuel. So
you mentioned about aero blocking. This is exactly what you're talking about right here. You see the 38 of Shane Tyrion pull right down across the nose of Cody Gibson, forced him to lift. You could visibly see the ground that closed up between himself and Catalano. And Catalano getting into the back of Gibson, sending him around. It was around that point right there, that kind of second spin that brought the caution flag out. But that's the tactic you've got to use with these next-gen cars at the speedways. Put the dirty air on the nose, build a little bit of a bubble between you and the driver that's trying to get to your inside.
yeah, and it's just air. Why? Because you want as much air going as possible in the corners, going over those going over those aero surfaces. If it's not going over them, they're not working effectively. So
avoids hitting that inside wall. Does Cody Gibson. Coming down to the attention of his crew now. Looks like Matthew Rodriguez will get the free pass here under this yellow. Has been turning laps but off the pace and currently -5. 2 drivers off the lead lap. Kyle Wellman also back out on the racetrack, albeit 7 laps down to the race leaders. A reminder that tomorrow night, continuation of the 66th season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series begins. The Bracket Challenge will also be kicking off the tournament within the season. Green flag, we fly in at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we approach the halfway point of the regular season. So far, we've had as many winners as many races in the regular season. Things starting to get congested as drivers look to vie for the remaining spots inside of the top 12 in the point standings for a shot at the championship. Again, that's tomorrow night, simultaneously being broadcasted on Tarnation TV and Flatout Racing Network. Lights out on the pace car, getting ready to go back green and about to eclipse the 100 lap mark. 76 laps to go when Noah Jackson gets us back under green. And I've lost track of those drivers that at this point in time have not yet gone with the strategy of using a set of tires, whether it be in stage 1 or stage 2, to get those stage points that might be sitting on that extra set. How late do you wait if you are one of those drivers, depending on how cautions fall, to come down and have enough laps to be able to charge up through the field? When do we start to see some of those drivers make those moves?
Well, if you've got an extra set, Seth, it's sometime around, you want at least 15 laps with the green flag running on the tire. Right now, we've got about 8 laps on this set of tires, but only 4 of those have been at green flag speeds. So you've taken no life out of them. We go 11 to 15 laps from here is the perfect sort of window to be aggressive. That set of tires, but anything less than that, and you're not going to make a net gain.
Well, Whitehead Racing's been able to kind of create a wall in these first 2 rows, taking away clean air from everyone else behind. Noah Jackson with another great launch. Alan Dobbs going to try and clear Brock Whitehead for second place, and Trey Whitehead gets to the right rear quarter panel of the 71, so might be a battle there for third. Tyrion now in the 5th spot, and then side by side between Christian Ruse and Dalton McKenney doing a good job working his way back up through the field after he had some early issues back in stage 1.
Early issues and early damage, too, is the critical thing for Dalton McKenney. He looks like he's actually got a quick race car again. Remember, he was capable of leading laps at the front end of the race as well. So, you know, there's a little bit in that as well. He has got pace, he has got speed, he has got the ability. He just needs a little bit of luck to go his way. Is that 2 cars way up the racetrack? I think it was Brock Whitehead way up the racetrack. He's been willing to use that furthest outside line, but that was a long way up relative to everyone else.
It's a really good run there off of 4 onto the front straightaway, and now going to go back up there. Dobbs sees that, going to mimic it, take away that line through 1 and 2. Shane Terrian's managed to get around Trey Whitehead to move into 4th, and here comes Christian Ruse also looking to the top side for the 5th position. He may get 2 for 1. He's not only going to get by the 23, he's going to pull right up alongside and side draft the 38 of Terrian back to him. That'll be 4th place going into turn 1.
Yeah, so this starts to really move around as well. Look at Tom Bourne as well, all the way up. He's found the clean air on the outside, but he's going to get the fan, comes down and gets into Whitehead. But again, that's the dirty air in the second half of the corner. A lot of drivers doing different bits and pieces here. And this actually, right now, some of the critical drivers around that cutoff line are not scoring bulk points to each other. Catalano's just decided he's going to go on the move. Whitehead is just drifting. Oh, now he's going to get caught.
Whoa!
And it's Catalano that's involved as well.
Caution is out. Oh, Kelly gotta loop it around there in the entrance of turn 4. Catalano just now getting his car turned around. Lot of contact to the back end of that machine. And looks like maybe some contact on the right front as well.
Catalano might be done.
Here's a look at it coming off of turn 2. 3 wide. Whitehead on the bottom, Catalano in the middle. Whitehead pushes up, and ooh, that's a big hit there from Mackey. And there's where the back end damage came from, as I believe that was the 12 of Brandon Kelly.
Yeah. It's just a lot. It all sort of comes because they're tight here. So Bourne's gone up the racetrack looking for a little bit of speed, but you make yourself vulnerable to somebody who can shoot the middle right here. Catalano's trying to leave a little bit of speed.
Maybe a little questionable, the amount of speed that the 12 was carrying into that.
No comment. I got nothing to say. It's just, yeah. You can't be hitting. You can't be that late into a wreck and hitting it at that speed. That's just, yeah.
I saw about 3 or 4 other drivers that were crawling in to that vicinity, and
But the caution was out.
Yep. So that added damage there for Ryan Catalano to the back end of his race car, kind of abbreviating that car lengthwise. We'll have to see how that affects him. I would assume that that's certainly going to hurt aerodynamically in terms of downforce. It would probably affect the height of the spoiler on the back end of that race car, unless they're able to make repairs and get it at least close to what it was. Right now it looks like Catalano is still scored on the lead lap, though they are repairing his car, and the field is making their way out of turn 4 as we speak. Tanner Marr, Brandon Kelly, Chris Mackey also currently on pit road right now.
The good news for Catalano is it is drivable. Remember, we're talking about meatball flag and damage repair flags. He does not have one of those at the moment, so he's okay. He can get back out there. It's not going to have any speed. It's going to have no speed whatsoever. And the big thing for him, he's gonna if he turns every lap here to the end of the race, he's gonna finish 17th, which is, I think, what we're talking about in terms of Peyton Holland and where he's gonna finish.
Yeah,
he's gonna finish
22nd.
22nd, so he's gonna put 5 points extra on him.
The other good thing, he's not involved in this wreck with a 0 in the stage points gained here tonight. He was able to
huge.
score stage points in both stage 1 and 2. So obviously you don't want to have a wrecked race car, but it won't put him in as terrible a situation as it could have been if he had no stage points at this point in time and has a damaged race car to boot.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. So, you know, there is a little bit of work that he can do with that car, and he's going to keep working on it all night long. And we've had cautions coming our way, you know, semi-regularly, so there is the benefit that at least he can keep moving on with it. But yeah, look, they're going to do what they can to that race car, and hope is what's going to happen there. Because remember, back in Atlanta, Catalano got the bug, and he spent an extended stay on pit lane. Remember that? So he's had to dig himself out of a couple of holes in the playoffs.
Green flag back in the air, and maybe some good news for Catalano as well is the fact that there's 2 drivers out of the race. There's multiple drivers a lap down, and there's several drivers in the field here from the top 5 all the way to the rear of the field that are dealing with some damage in some way, shape, or form, and still a little less than 70 to go. I kind of remember back to when we were going into that elimination race at Bristol, and we were talking about the 25 of Rylan Faccianato, saying, man, he needs a miracle, but He stayed on the racetrack, albeit multiple laps down, and driver after driver after driver got involved in wrecks, retired out of the race, and he was able to nickel and dime his way above the cut line to advance into the round of 12. So, you know, in the case here for Ryan Catalano, yeah, maybe no speed in that race car, but if you can keep it on the lead lap and more drivers run into trouble, sustain race-ending damage, you could find yourself leaving here tonight inside of the top 15.
Yeah, you know, it's enough, right? It's just enough. And there's been enough going on the racetrack. Dalton McKenny just had a huge moment on the run down at turn 1 and 2 as well. As they're 3 wide with Trey Whitehead, Matt Davies, and Faccinado's actually going to turn Davies. There's another one. And Kleinsman's in it.
And Nate's going to get Matt Mettler. Caution number 11 here tonight. The 9th caution for cause, and another playoff driver collected. Couple of big shots there for Jeff Kleinsma. Three wide off of turn 2 has not worked all that well here tonight. It doesn't have a good track record.
It does. But the problem is all 3 cars are going to run their own lane. I even said, remember when we were 4 wide going through the middle of 1 and 2? That actually would have worked, except for one car decided to change its lanes from the the second and a half groove to the bottom of the second groove with 2 cars underneath him. That's when it doesn't work. And you'll see in this one that Faccinato missed the bottom. And that's what the issue is. He did say, though, that he had no concept that he was 3 wide, but, you know, you knew that car was out there heading into the corner. He would have had visibility of Trey Whitehead being up there before the corner, and that car just doesn't suddenly disappear. And Kleinsma goes, I've got the hole to go through. It closed.
Which hit would you be more concerned about? That shot to the back end of the race car from Davies, or the shot there into that left front when he got into Matt Mettler?
Left front. More because it's where the car steers from and whatnot as well. That may just shut off the entire left front corner of that car as well. That's going to be just about enough to, I think that might do Kleinsma in. There's a lot of people that are going to be extended stays on pit lane as a result of this one.
One driver that came down pit road about 3 laps ago is actually out of the race, that being Patrick McQuaid. Mentioned he had a great run here the last time we were at Vegas, brought it home solidly inside of the top 10. Had early issues tonight, but managed to work his way back up into the top 10, but doesn't look like he'll be reaching the conclusion of tonight's festivities. Going to get credit for 21st, which in the case of Kleinsma and Catalano, that means that at least the furthest you can finish line moves up a little bit. Now it would be 20th place would be the furthest you could finish if indeed, in the case here for Kleinsma, your night is over, or for Catalano, his bad luck continues.
Seeing extended stays on pit lane as well for a couple more cars. Matt Davies and Chris Mackey, both with meatball flags, and there is a potential for those meatball flags to be too much damage. That car is done. Mackey's been on pit lane for 7 minutes now. So I would feel reasonably confident in his perspective if that car is done.
Should have the lights on the pace car this time, and while we've seen a number of drivers have issues here tonight, there's been some drivers that have been able to stay out of trouble, and they're now up here inside of the top 5, top 10. Cody Gibson in that number 7. Right now, going to restart on the outside of row number 3 in the 6th position. And how about Ryan White in the 34? Going to restart in the 7th spot. Good job by both of these drivers here, looking to maybe net their first career top 10s in the Grind Cup Series. They've been able to take advantage of the misfortunes that other drivers have had, kept all the fenders on it, and seems like here tonight, if you can come away with a clean car, your odds are increased of probably finishing up inside of the top 5. A lot of drivers throughout the field here have got scuffs, they've got scrapes, they've got dents, they've got dings. Off the pace, aero damaged. A lot of them still soldiering on, though.
Pulled the fender off it, put the fender back on it, put some race tape on it, took the race tape off, put a new fender on it. Bennett toe link back into shape. Pit crews have been working hard tonight.
Yes, they have.
Think about the amount of hot race cars that have come down the pit lane that you'd have to get under to work on too. That's your job as a mechanic.
Closing on 60 laps to go. Noah Jackson, the control car once again. I think it's safe to say you gave him that lap-led bonus point back in the middle portion of stage 2, but with how many laps he's been able to lead, sweeping the stages, and being out in front for a majority of stage 3, looks like he is very easily going to get that bonus point here tonight. As Tom Bourne, big run there, almost had his left sides down on the apron of 3 and 4.
And do you know why he sent an aggressive move?
Maybe because the 71 was the car he had to pass? Cautions out.
Something just happened.
Catalano
Something
and
just
Tanner
happened.
Marr. Oh, and looks like maybe a little displeasure being shown right there by the 4 car.
Catalano's done.
Yeah, I think that car
Catalano's
is
done.
definitely
Yeah.
toast. Little Tokyo drifting here as he enters into turn 1. The bad night, ever since the start of stage 3, continues for Catalano. Tanner Marr obviously a little upset, and let's take a look at what happened. This actually might have actually started quite a ways back from when the incident actually occurred. We're going to take it about a lap and a half earlier. Marr pulling down there in front of Catalano. Catalano gets the inside here. Tanner Marr going to try and squeeze him down. Contact made right there. Contact made again. So maybe something even earlier than what we rewound back to. Huh. And then we saw the follow-up contact right there. Tanner Marr up the track and into the back of the 92. So not exactly 100% certain what spurred this on.
Yeah, look.
So we went back as far as we could to where that restart was, and I don't know. I'm not sure what the beef was exactly,
No, I don't know either.
but
Catalano's scoring, I think, the most points. Catalano's going to finish, at best, I think he's going to finish 18th now. He'll finish ahead of Metler's done. Wellman's still circulating, so it'll be 18th.
there's definitely not really any way you can spin the story. What we just saw there, right rear is a right rear, and pretty clear it was an intentional wreck by Tanner Marr. He's done for the night, and very well could be the same for Ryan Catalano.
Yeah, well, Catalano's definitely done for the day. He's he'd have it too much damage. We're done displaying on his screen at the moment. Tanner Marr's also done for the day, as a heads up.
Looks like we're getting ready to double up, and is Noah Jackson going to take the top line here? He's been pretty much committed to being the inside line car on the front row for these restarts, but no, he's going to take the top here.
Have a look at who's restarting where. And it's because Tom Bourne, he didn't want Tom Bourne pushing him number one, because that's the free spot for Tom Bourne.
Good catch.
There's gamesmanship. That's what this is. So there's a difference to guys that are watching along at home. There's gamesmanship and there's influencing. This is gamesmanship. What gamesmanship is effectively utilizing the tools that you've got available And what influencing the outcome is taking the tools that you got available and then stepping outside of them.
I mean, what's going on here? The gamesmanship's kind of similar to what we're going to be seeing next week at Talladega, where you try and find your friends, find your teammates, and all work together to try and work your way to the front, or maybe play defense against the drivers that are in your rearview mirror, or maybe to your left or right, depending on the situation of a high line versus a low line. And think about the situation here as well. You've already given us the numbers here tonight as the points have been scored with these stages and everything, but consider just how much different this playoff standings are going to look like if Noah Jackson's able to not only sweep the stages tonight, but come away with a race victory. He leapfrogs everybody and locks himself into the Final Four. It completely changes the landscape going into Dega.
It's a track position that's been bought through an alternative strategy. He took a risk. Actually, you know what? There's a huge chunk of cars who have 4 sets of tires that restart the back half of this race. And Jackson was not amongst those. But again, this is gamesmanship. This is utilizing the bits and pieces he got available for himself. Trey Whitehead was saving tires in that first stretch of the race, and now he's got them back on board. He is looking quick. Actually, you know what? He's been a pit road. He's burned up an extra set, as is Dalton McKenney. Cody Gibson actually came down recently after we went back green flag racing as well. So Whitehead and McKenney have been picking their way forward slowly. They both came to the pits on lap 105. Remember, stage ended at 88. So they do have a tire offset, a tire advantage here. And that's what they're trying to use. And again, gamesmanship. Box them in. Give him only bad options.
Chevrolets to the top. Dalton McKenney, Tom Bourne again up into that bright yellow outside safer barrier. As McKenney will stay alongside of Trey Whitehead for 4th place and get him cleared, actually, looks like, heading into 3.
Pacinato and Christian Ruse are both on fresh tires as well. Ryan White's on a brand spanking new set of tires. He's going to be quick in that 34 machine.
Right now battling with Christian Ruse for the 10th position. One of a very few Dark Horse Mustangs representing here tonight in the field. Noah Jackson trying to maintain a 0.2 of a second gap. Back to Brock Whitehead. Alan Dobbs going to have his hands full here in a moment. Here comes Dalton McKenney. Still has those scuffs on the right front fender. But that car appears to still have just as much speed in it as it did when he was out in front leading this race back in stage 1. Trey Whitehead and Cody Gibson currently in a good battle. And you mentioned about the fact that Trey had been to pit road about 18 laps ago. We're not really seeing him charge up to the front with those fresh tires. Looks like he's trying to preserve those for the long run.
Just thinking about it, just being a little bit measured. You definitely want to go out there and press on with the tires a little bit, but what's the point in having fresh tires and then the guys that are on older tires here eventually are just quicker than you? There is no point, you know? And then they'll be able to pit and be in a better situation. So you see a little bit of bobbling about in that. Gibson and Whitehead are absolutely going at each other. Just ahead. Bourne, that's a better lineup on the top, buddy. Stop grabbing the outside barrier and be a couple spots further down the road. He's had a difficult night, to be fair. Ear well to start the night. He's picked his way through. And again, he's just hit walls at different points throughout the night of, you know, what he can and what he can't do with the car. Just because of the situation of the people he's around. He's about to get swamped in and out.
Well, a lot of these drivers too, including Bourne, Tyrion, Gibson, they've all been involved in incidents and gotten damaged. That certainly has got to affect the way that the race car handles. You throw into the equation the wall of dirty air that a bunch of these drivers mid-pack are dealing with. I mean, they're having their hands full.
You can see Bourne's desperate for some momentum. So that block to the top rope for Ryan White is he just needs momentum. And the best way to get it is to move up to the top of the racetrack. Wrapping the bottoms generally, it's not at all times is it the fastest way around the racetrack, but generally it is. But the big one is it's the best on tires because the car just rotates nicely. There's generally a ton of grip down there. You know, bits and pieces that you can do. But fresh air will always serve you better than the best line around the racetrack. And that's what you're seeing now that the tires are starting to wear. Guys that get to the bottom of the racetrack but get a wall of dirty air, they just can't turn. And then they have to lift off the gas, and there goes all your momentum.
Drivers' agendas have flip-flopped during the course of the night, depending on situations. Obviously, Noah Jackson, we've kind of gotten a pretty good idea of what his strategy was coming into tonight, and he's delivered so far, coming away with maximum stage points, and right now, looking to find his way back to victory lane, lock himself into the Final Four going into next week at Talladega. Ryan Catalano still sits on pit road 5 laps down, so that kind of now, I think, turns the attention to the 14 of Christian Ruse. I think you said those both were locked up, tied at the conclusion of stage 2. So now if you're the 14, what is the goal right now in preparation for Talladega?
Well, you gotta make moves. You can't sit here in 11th and feel comfortable. The big thing is that he is -1 to Noah Jackson right now. And based upon current form, I'm not going to sit here and say it's absolutely going to finish this way, but based upon current form, Noah Jackson's going to win this race, which means there's only 2 spots to point your way in before we even consider a winner at Talladega next week. So if he's going to get himself to a championship 4, he's gonna think about what he's doing on the tires. Now, he did come to pit lane. Actually, I just went back and had a look at his pit stop. It's fuel only on 106. So he was just trying to open up the options that he has. And I think that might have been a stop that was sort of, he might have gotten a touch to one of the corners of the car. It was actually checking the car over, more so than it was necessarily coming for fuel. But he'll be good through to lap 146 or so. Nice short, sharp run to the end. Guys that haven't pit since the stage, they're about 15 laps earlier. And coming up on 40 laps here, they are going to be in a hole on fuel in the next 5 to 10 laps. This is as far as they could have gone on green flag running, and we've had a lot of caution laps since then. So I think they can go an extra 5 to 10.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because my math is not the best, but again, making the projections that Noah Jackson wins this race, the current scenario, the 4 drivers that would be above the cut line going into Dega would be Dobbs with his victory last week, Jackson if he wins here tonight, Trey Whitehead, and Tom Bourne.
Yes, that would be correct. And then from Tom Bourne, the problem for Chris Ruse is he's actually -9 to Bourne. So the problem is Jackson's on the bubble. If Jackson actually wins, that makes the playoff picture a lot worse for everyone who's below it, because one of the strengths of Tom Bourne is that he tends to have he hasn't won a lot. He's been in positions to potentially do that, but even when he makes sure he brings home the bank of points. And that's a detriment. When you're a team owner and you're looking at guys who are going to get you to a playoff situation, you like those sorts of guys because even if they can't win the race, they're second. You know, there's a lot that can be said for coming into a race and you have a 5th place car. And a lot of those guys that go out there with a 5th place car will go, well, I'm going to try and win it with a 5th place car. You not necessarily can do that. One of the biggest things, there was actually an Australian commentator, I know I'm talking about real world motorsports here, that sat down a whole bunch of Formula Ford drivers probably about 10 years ago now, a very famous story in Australian law. And he said to them, because effectively what was happening was that they'd go racing for 3 corners and then there'd be a safety car. They'd go racing for 3 corners and there'd be a safety car. And at the end of the race, they've done 3 laps worth of racing. And he sat them all down and said, hey, you guys had a half-hour race there and you went racing for 30 seconds. Come on, if you've got a 5th place race car, why are you trying to bid at winning the race? Your car's not capable of that. Tom Bourne's actually about to jump on a pit line. If you've got a 10th place race car, lock in 10th place, score points. If you guys want to be successful motorsport stars, and everyone that's in that field, that's what they want to do, lock in what you can. And that's the strength of Bourne. He's not a win it or bin it kind of guy. I feel like Dobbs is similar, but he errs a little bit on the side of more aggression, but it's not enough. Like it's sort of a little bit too excessive in terms of the aggression at times, but often that works out for him because he knows how to manipulate it. So you have a few of these driver personalities, but what I've seen from tonight, and this speaks to a lot of the guys that are in the field that are trying to get their way in is placing their cars in bad positions because either the red mist has descended or they've got themselves in a bad position just through not thinking through the race and not trying to connect the dots. Good race car drivers connect the dots.
So Tom Bourne, we saw him, you called him coming to pit road there. At 40 laps to go. Now, this is kind of reminding me of the Ryan Catalano strategy back in stage 1. He's coming to pit road right when the window opens. So if you're Tom Bourne, you want to see this thing go green to the end. You do not want to see a caution because right now he is currently a lap down to the leaders.
Yeah, so he definitely wants to see that. But the big thing will be he was having a lot of troubles sort of picking those guys off. So when you hit that wall of 4 or 5 cars, what Tom's done is he's taking a look around and gone, I'm going to be on the back of these guys when I pit. I've sort of burned my stuff off. If I undercut these guys here, I get to play defense. And that's sort of where he wants those guys, is that he's never really had an opportunity to play defense from that perspective. And that changes the script just a little bit.
And look what's out the windshield. Clean racetrack for the most part. So that's clean air to the nose, which allows you to turn those optimal laps rather than having to deal with the dirty air of the cars in front of you.
8/10 quicker on that most recent lap. 8/10. He is actually running down Jeff Kleinsma at the moment. So this is where Kleinsma's lucky dog situation is going to go out the window again. Kleinsma can go through to about lap 157, so about 18 from home or so. So he's not in dire straits, and Dalton McConey's, here comes the pit stop. So I would say this is going to kick it all off. Dobbs is in as well.
Yep.
By the way.
From second place. Looking for his second win here in this round of 8.
That's a bigger issue for Noah Jackson than it is for anyone else. Because remember, he wants the win. If he can connect the dots and get the win, he doesn't have to worry about next week at Talladega. And that's what he was trying to do with the situation. But he's gone 1 lap too long.
Well, here's the thing. I was kind of watching these last 10 to 15 laps. It looked like for a brief spell, Brock Whitehead was a little better than Noah Jackson.
Yellow's out!
Oh, man!
No!
Brandon Kelly? No. Who is it? Might have been Dalton McKinney coming off of pit road.
I think it might have been. That's the only car I can see around.
Yeah. Take a look and see here. He had just finished up his service. And yeah, he's gonna loop it around here coming off of pit road exit.
Watch the white line here and where that is in relation to his rear tires.
He was right on it.
Cold tires, like normally warm tires, it's not a huge issue, but cold tires it is. That's the white lines have slightly less grip, but it's enough.
So this traps Jackson, Dobbs, Bourne, all a lap down. Now, granted, they're probably going to be able to take the wave around as everybody else will come to pit lane, but what does this do in terms of, 1, track position, and 2, for some of those drivers, you're looking at, specifically for Tom Bourne, you're looking at about, 4 to 5 hard green flag laps on those tires.
Yeah, but I think he had to. He's got an extra set, I believe. So he won't be in dire straits, but the big thing will be he's lost track position. Now, I think Alan Dobbs has been given the lucky dog. I think.
At the time the field was frozen with the caution, it was showing Noah Jackson the first car 1 lap down, but I think you're right. It looks like the 35's actually coming around. Yeah, I think you're right. I think the 20 was on pit road.
Yeah. And effectively, what's happened with Jackson is that he wasn't yet eligible to be the lucky dog driver. And Trey Whitehead's just spent on pit lane.
And he would have been the leader. He won the battle off of pit road. Wow.
I tell you what, Christian Roos is starting to look a lot more comfortable.
I was going to say, yeah, the situation's looking a little brighter right now for that 14.
I can't believe that's what's triggered the court. That's painful.
Right now, looks like 15 drivers are going to get ready to finish out the final 30 laps of this race. Now, Dobbs got the lucky dog. A few drivers going to take the wave around, including Jackson, Kelly, Bourne, and McKenney. So we'll have 12 drivers on the lead lap of those 15 still running. Just to update some other drivers that we may not have mentioned the names that are out of the race. Ryan Catalano, we obviously saw that he was done for the night. 16th is where he's going to finish this evening. Tanner Marr, Matt Davies, Matt Mettler also all out of the race, along with Chris Mackey, Patrick McQuaid, Peyton Holland, and Larry Bell. Two important playoff contenders right there in the did not finish category. Catalano and Holland. Now for Catalano, he did score stage points here tonight. Peyton Holland did not, but both will certainly be going into Talladega in an unenviable position below the cut line. We'll have to wait and see how the math all ends up checking out here at the conclusion of this race, of just how far below the cut line are they going to be. We've already got Peyton Holland pretty much in must-win situation. We'll have to wait and see if Catalano is in that same boat.
Quirky to just keeping an eye on Noah Jackson at the moment. No penalties on it. Looks like he's okay. Was just curious about him getting on and off a pit road, because sometimes it can look at you on pit lane and go, oh, well, the pit lane entry was actually closed because the yellow was out, but it was open when you got there. He looks okay.
Brock Whitehead inherits the race lead after the speeding penalty for the 23. He's had good pace here tonight. Brock's been up inside of the top 5 the entirety of this race.
By the way, Tom Bourne and Dalton McKenney are starting to cut their way through the field aggressively. This is going to be an exciting finish to this one.
The drivers had to take the wave around here. Bourne now trying to go to work on the 20 of Noah Jackson. This is the battle amongst the drivers that took the wave around to get back on the lead lap. The 20, the 16, the 46. Dobbs got the free pass. Trey Whitehead probably about the furthest back he's been all night.
Oh, it's just about got turned to the bottom of the racetrack. Remember, he's still on a damaged race car. So he's just circulating. I don't think Jeff Kleinsma actually... No, he did kind of pit lane under that caution. So for Kleinsma, he's not quite straight yet in that car. There was a lot of damage. He's just been picking away at it. And he hasn't had much of an opportunity to get more damage repaired. And I get the sneaking suspicion he might just be on a little bit older tires as well. So he's just trying to hang on to it. And there's a bunch of guys that were cycled to the back trying to cut their way back through.
Remember when I mentioned beginning of the night that there were a bunch of non-playoff drivers that wanted to win this race just as much as the playoff guys? Look at our top 4. Not a playoff contender to be seen until Christian Roos in 5th. Whitehead, Gibson, Tyrion, and White. 2 of them looking for their first win of the season. 2 of them looking for their second.
And Chris Roos is going to be smart about this, because this is still an extended... When we went back Green Flag Racing, there was still 30 laps to go to the end of this one. You don't want to pit unless you have to. And these guys have come out and they're just trading blows at the front end. But he's going to play it smart. He cannot afford to give up spots to these 2 guys that are behind him, which is Facinato and Whitehead. But at the same time, he also wants to make sure that when the guys ahead of him fall off the cliff, he's the first one to get a crack at them.
Things are getting really close there between Facinato and Whitehead in that battle for 6th. They may have been leaning on each other last time out at 2. Little paint traded maybe off at turn 4 as Facinato looking for the slide job, and he's going to almost get the wall. Whitehead tried to cross him over, and he had Dobbs to his inside, 3 wide.
3 wide, up the racetrack. They both clear? They do clear Facinato, so they're going to slot back into 2. This is where this measured aggression is really, really important. If you're passive in this situation, you go backwards, you have to pass those guys again. give and take. There's a lot of give and take at the front end of a race. There is very, very little
Oh,
now.
Trey! Big save!
Saved it. Yeah. And he doesn't need a win. He just needs points. So he's got to make sure that he still scores points out of this one. There is not a lot of cars. Oh, Kelly's getting into him. I do not think we're done. I just do not think we're done.
I mean, we get spaced out, but then when you end up having a battle up here inside of the top 5, top 6, the side draft brings everybody behind you up into the conversation. Next thing you know, you got a wad of 4, 5, 6 cars.
Yeah. I mean, just with the aggression levels that we've seen tonight and the willingness to go 3 wide. And I'm not sitting here and saying 3 wide's the problem. It's created great racing tonight, but it takes smarts when you're 3 wide to make sure that you're coming out the other side. I think Ryan White's starting to burn his tires off. And I have a sneaking suspicion he's out of tires too, because he has been willing to go off strategy a fair bit.
If I'm not mistaken too, from when we went back green, if we do run the rest of this race without a caution, it's going to be the longest run that these drivers have had so far here tonight. So it's going to really come down to your point. Who's going to be able to preserve those tires the best? As Brock Whitehead currently has that clean air to the nose, has whatever line he wants going into the entry of the corner. He's had a strong car here tonight. At one point, he had gotten to the inside of Noah Jackson for the race lead. May have had a bit of a slip up and faded back to 4th, but he's been a top 5 car all evening long. And after Trey got the speeding penalty and he became the control car, all of a sudden, the odds of the 71 maybe getting his 2nd checkered flag of the season looking pretty good. And how about this? It'd be his 2nd checkered flag of the season during the playoffs. His first one was the elimination race, the first elimination race back at Bristol.
And also think about it as well. He said, you know, I've had so much bad luck. Well, tonight, he's had a reasonable race car, but he's also just been in the right places, I think, at the right time. And he's had all luck. Every other car that's been ahead of him has just had something happen. Noah Jackson, pit lane, and gets a yellow in the middle of his pit stop, his pit cycle. Chris Ruse is going to make a move at the moment, by the way. This is the battle for 2nd, 3rd. But Ruse, and remember I said Ryan White's tires are starting to go. They are absolutely going. He cannot maintain speed. And Ruse was just following him for a couple laps without sort of recognizing that he needed to show a little bit of aggression.
Speaking of aggression, little door banging on the front straightaway there is Noah Jackson trying to get by Rylan Faccianato. So far unsuccessful.
I reckon Faccianato's got a point to prove. He's come out here tonight and showing a willingness to bang doors and trade paint. Misread a couple situations, sure, but he's also been more willing to get the elbows out. I think we saw a more passive version of him whilst he was in the playoffs. Whether or not it was timidness or what it was. Or just how he goes about play. Because remember, playoffs, the thing is, during a regular season, the risk isn't that high. You've got a ton of other races to go and get it back. So it's about risk. And some drivers react completely differently to others. And I think we saw him go back into his shell a little bit. But we also saw some great results he's protected his race car quite well during phases of the playoffs. And that's enabled him to, when the field does get into it, he's got a clean race car to go racing with. And whenever he's had that clean race car, he's done well. So I don't mind this from him. I like seeing it because I was having this conversation with some of the Australian guys just recently. This is one of my personal weaknesses is aggressiveness and wanting to trade paint. I'm no good at it. And I said to them, look, I'm going to be aggressive between now and the end of the year. And the reason for that is it means nothing to me. But more importantly, it's a skill that I have to learn. And I would rather do it in a situation where there's no risk. I can't gain anything. I can't lose anything. Than in a situation where the pressure's on, because then I can lean on that skill set later on in the year, when it does matter. But I apologize in advance. I'm gonna drive like a dick for a little bit. Be aware. And they all said, "Yeah, buddy, we're keen for it." And, you know, that's the thing. When you apologize, and the biggest thing is there is not a driver in the world. The instant you apologize and you make a mistake, it makes that mistake not as bad.
Yes. 100% on that. Watching some good battling here. This is for the final spot in the top 10. Tom Bourne put the pressure on Trey Whitehead. Now he's in front of the 23. Trey trying to get him back. He mentioned it for Trey tonight. Has just come away with points. He was able to score stage points in both stage 1 and 2. Came into this race with a 17-point cushion above the cut line. A lot of drivers below him in the standings have had issues here tonight, so just build a little bit more onto that cushion going into Talladega next week. Of course, as well, with having 3 non-playoff drivers up here inside of the top 3, with the possibility of winning this race, increases his odds as well, because that would mean that a minimum of 2 drivers next week would advance into the playoffs on points.
This is important. This is really, really critical for Ruse. He needs it. I think he needs a top 5 tonight.
Mentioned he was the highest finisher of our playoff drivers the last time we were here at Vegas. That fuel strategy race brought it home in the runner-up position. And now Dobbs going to look for another spot here, as Tyrion might have missed the entry to turn 3, went up the track a bit.
Brock Whitehead's got this one in the bag. If he doesn't get a caution, this isn't being lost from here. And the tricky part is, I think Ruse has got better tires than Tyrion and Gibson ahead, but he just can't really show it because they're both changing their lanes each and every corner. Tyrion will have momentum off of 4.
Oh,
there's the call. Wow.
Oh, boy.
Wow. What triggered that?
Dalton McKinney, possibly? No, I'm not sure. I'm not seeing anybody spun out on my telemetry or off the pace.
No, yeah. Facinato just apologized.
Let's see if we can go around the 25 and see if we can figure out what this yellow flag is.
It's contact with Noah Jackson.
Noah Jackson.
Both saved it. You know what? I don't think they lost spots either.
No, they didn't. They'd been racing hard last 10 laps or so. Jackson was trying to get by Facinato. Facinato trying to cross him over, and there you saw the contact between the two. They went down onto the apron, clipped a little bit of the infield grass, but both were able to get it pointed in the right direction. And if you're Brock Whitehead, you're looking up at the flag stand and saying, why? The next flag you were supposed to wave was the white.
He's gone. Yeah, and now he's left with a really, really bad choice. If he doesn't pit here, he's done. If he does pit here, somebody's going to stay out, he might be done. I think you got to pit. If you got tires... We've just had a 25-lap run on the tires. It is pace... has fallen off to... Yeah, we're over a second slower. If you got tires, you got to burn them.
It's like Cody Gibson in the 7 is going to stay out.
I don't think he had any tires.
More than likely, yeah. Brandon Kelly also going to stay out. Everybody else is on pit road. Jeff Kleinsma is going to get the free pass once again. He could open up his own kennel with how many lucky dogs he's gotten here this evening. But hey, he's 13th place. That is a lot better looking than where he was projected to finish after his earlier issues, which would have been around 18th, 19th place.
Well, he's going to come into Talladega ahead of Catalano. So that's the good news. He's always going to come in ahead of Peyton Holland because he's ahead of him and still circulating. But Kleinsman's back on the lead lap. There's huge opportunities here for Kleinsman.
So just to make things a little bit more interesting, I took the opportunity here to look back at the last Talladega race that we had back in May. So projected right now, Roos, Holland, Catalano, Kleinsma. Going to be the 4 drivers below the cut line heading into next week's elimination race. Those 4 drivers, when we were at Talladega, finished in 7th, 9th, 11th, and 12th, all around each other.
Yeah, I reckon it's going to be stages next week. It's going to be stages. I think the best outcome that we can hope for next week is green flag stages, personally. And the reason that I say that is this is where your smarts come into it. By the way, our front 2 rows here, our front row, no tires. Second row, right sides. I think even the third row is right sides only.
Late race restart in the 46 up here at the front. I'm getting flashbacks of our second playoff race at Iowa, where we saw Dalton McKinney elect to then take on 4 tires when most of the drivers around him either stayed out or took 2. And that victory, second of the season, propelled him into the round of 12. Now going with a 2-tire strategy, and Trey Whitehead looking to get a chunk of points here with track position also with that 2-tire strategy. Interesting here, but oh man, you got the old tires of nearly 25-lap-old Goodyears in front of you here for Gibson and Kelly. If you're the 46, if you're the 23, what options do you have headed for turn 1?
If I'm Dalton McKinney, I'm looking for the middle, because you cannot follow. The other option is rotate it down and underneath him, but yeah, you don't have great options, and Kelly didn't get a great start on the outside. Brock Whitehead's going to be the first car into these guys on freshies. Oh, man.
May not be done with cautions even yet. 6 laps to go. McKinney clear for second. Roos on 4. Fresh Goodyears now into third.
He needs this. Chris Roos needs this like you would not believe. This is rebuilding his season right here. He can't afford to get tight. Whitehead got tight behind him. I think he had to crack the throttle slightly. McKinney needs to get clear at the front. He needs that fresh air, because as soon as he does, he starts aero blocking. It's his race.
Here comes Shane Tyrion with a charge to the inside of Whitehead. We're going to split. Whitehead up the middle. Gibson on the bottom. Roos and Whitehead will battle for second. Going into 3, but it's all Dalton McKinney out in front, trying to hold off the 4 fresh tires behind him.
And there's a little bit of trading paint. Facinato's gone into Gibson. Gibson got back in the dirty air, and his car's just switched off. Contact from Facinato and Gibson.
And with Jackson on the top of that 3 wide saying, let's settle this out, please. I'm the buffer between you guys and an outside wall.
Roos, man, how aggressive are you going to get with blocking? Top 5. He needs a top 5. And he's fallen to 4th. Here comes the fresh tires. 4's starting to work. He needs to get clean air in this next lap. He's got to get it all lap. He's going to be 3 wide when they get to 1 and 2. Dobbs is going to send it 3 to the bottom. Rip the top.
Tyrion tried to block it. Oh, Dobbs moves up. Contact between himself and Tyrion. Tyrion off the wall. Bounces down into Roos.
This is everyone just fighting. I don't know if Roos needed to take a 2-tire strategy, I gotta be honest with you. He was right at the point. I don't think he had to do this.
And meanwhile, that interval between the top 2 is closing up. With 2 laps remaining, here comes Brock Whitehead. 4 tires against 2, but the 46 has the clean air.
And that's the big thing. Coming to 1 to go. They'll be the white this time.
Both drivers looking for for Dalton looking for his 3rd win on the season. He won the regular season finale at Daytona. He won the playoff race at Iowa. Brock Whitehead won the playoff race at Bristol. It's going to be 46 versus 71. 1 to go here at Vegas.
Had to roll the dice. Had to have a bit of a gamble. Have a look at Christian Ruse on 2 tires. He is working it. He is wheeling it. He's going to get a top 5.
Yes,
if he
he
just
is.
survives this next corner.
What can Whitehead do? Sends it into the corner. Can he get to the corner panel and draft him back? It's going to be close. Here to the stripe. Here comes Dobbs for 3 wide. But McKinney, by a wheel, is going to get the victory tonight at Vegas. What better place to gamble?
100th of a second. Tell you what, Jeff Kleinsman's still got 13 spots, so he kept it on the lead lap.
How about that?
Unlucky for him, though, because there was every opportunity he was going to run down Kelly and Gibson ahead of him.
Well, Dalton McKinney seems to be the man for late race theatrics. He had that thriller of a finish at Daytona. He was able to take it 4 wide for the win at Iowa, and tonight, the 2-tire gamble holds off the 4 fresh Goodyears of Brock Whitehead, who dominated the latter half of this final stage, and McKinney for the 3rd time this season burns it down in 2025.
And this is an adjustment for him as well, the back half of the season. He complained a lot in the early stages that he wasn't getting a lot of respect. And he had to go to work on himself as a driver. And I think he also had to go to work on himself in terms of relationships within. And he earned that respect back. But he's also had to be aggressive. And I think tonight he walked that line. He walked that line really, really well. And if you look back at the start of the season, Dalton McKinney from, all the way back at the last time that we came to this race, he couldn't have done that. He absolutely couldn't have done that. You fast forward to the middle of the year, I don't think the Dalton McKinney of that point in time. He has worked on himself and the way that he goes about it, and tonight is the proof in the pudding.
What a victory for Dalton McKinney here tonight. His 2nd win in the playoffs, and to your point, what an incredible final home stretch of this schedule he is having. From August into September, and now into October. His 3rd victory on the season. Brock Whitehead, strong showing here tonight as well, bringing it home in 2nd. And Alan Dobbs going to finish the highest of the playoff drivers in 3rd. Already locked into the Final 4, but some momentum continuing to build here during the round of 8. Shane Tyrion battles back to get 4th. Christian Ruse, he got that top 5, making his job maybe a little bit easier in preparation for Talladega next week. Trey Whitehead was able to battle back for 6th. Noah Jackson, after sweeping the stages tonight, brings it home in 7th. Rylan Facchinato in 8th. Tom Bourne was able to come back for 9th place, so maybe pretty close between him and Ruse around that cut line going into next week. And Ryan White is going to complete the top 10 here this evening. Then we start getting into some interesting situations for the remainder of the playoff contenders, as Jeffrey Kleinsma, last driver on the lead lap in 13th. Catalano and Peyton Holland both out of the race. Catalano was able to score stage points. Holland was not. So he will be going into next week must-win situation. And we're going to have to see how it all culminates at one of the 2 wild card racetracks here on the schedule. 2nd time we'll be heading to the High Banks in Talladega, Alabama.
I can't believe the situation that we're going to be walking into at Talladega. It is going to be tricky, to say the least.
Going to be interesting indeed. You talked about your calculator not working in the early going of this one. If it starts working next week, it may be smoking by the end of the night with crunching the numbers, because Talladega, Daytona, those racetracks, positions don't just change every lap. They can change every corner. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch the potential moving and shaking around that cut line next week. Let's see if we can talk with our podium finishers here tonight. See if we get a hold of our third place performer here this evening. Already locked into the final 4, but another solid run here in this round of 8. Let's dial up Alan Dobbs. Hey, Alan, it's the guys up here in the FRN booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Had that victory last week at Phoenix, locking yourself into the final 4. Strong car here tonight. Almost able to pull off the double here in the round of 8, but a third-place performance. How important was it here tonight to just kind of keep the ball of momentum rolling as you're eyeing the season finale at Homestead and, of course, the wild card race next week at Talladega?
Yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game right now. Is just I don't have to worry about points. I don't have to worry about stage wins or race, but I do have to make sure that I keep focused, because this is definitely not the time to slack off in any means. Had a couple teammates we're trying to work, trying to get them into the next round. They had some really good nights tonight, so congratulations to those guys. Trey and Noah, both of them had good nights. But yeah, just trying to keep, like you said, just keep the ball rolling the next couple of weeks, and hopefully we have what we need when we go to Homestead.
So kind of interesting. It was going to be Martinsville here tonight. The change was made to bring it to Las Vegas. Had we not had that change, we would have only had 2.5 mile racetracks in terms of a normal speedway. We're not going to count Atlanta Superspeedway into that equation. The Chicagoland Speedway that kicked off the playoffs, and Homestead in a couple of weeks to cap off the playoffs. You won at Chicagoland, a good performance here tonight. What do you think this does as far as the confidence level in terms of your 1.5 mile program in preparation for us ending out the season at Homestead?
I mean, I definitely have confidence, and I mean, you have to, or you're gonna fail, right? I've definitely had a good car all year. Really, other than just a couple races here and there, pretty much every race I've been in some sort of contention. So I don't think it'll be any different. I expect to have a good race. I don't know that I expect to win, because, I mean, the competition is stout, and Homestead's not necessarily one of my best tracks. But we'll put in some practice, and, maybe it's everybody else's not so best track either.
Well, a great run for you here tonight. Started on the pole, bring it home in the 3rd position. Bit of an adventurous night all the way through the field. Seemed like everybody had an adventurous night here from Las Vegas. But congratulations on another great run following up your victory last week. Best of luck at Talladega as you get ready to make your way into that Championship 4 battle at Homestead. Before I let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Yeah, thanks, man. Just shout out, as always, to my beautiful wife, all the guys at Whitehead Racing, Redline Racing Network, Tier 1, you guys for the broadcast, everybody that watches, the admins, everybody that helped put on a good show tonight. Appreciate it.
Alan Dobbs, 3rd place here this evening under the lights at Las Vegas. Congratulations once again on the great run. Best of luck next week at the high banks of Dega.
Appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
Well, in a photo finish, there's always the elation of victory and there's the agony of defeat. Let's dial up the driver that was leading before the caution came out. Brings it home 2nd place. Let's get a hold of Brock Whitehead. Hey, Brock, Scott and Seth up here in the FRM booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, I'll tell you what, I cannot imagine the range of emotions that were going through your mind when that caution came out, closing in on 10 laps to go. A lot of gamblers there, some staying out, some going with 2. You were one of the drivers that went with 4. You got to his left rear quarter panel there, able to draft him back. What little more did you need to make sure your splitter was the first one back to the line?
Yeah, just a little more aggressive out of 4. Probably just side drafted a little earlier. Maybe just gave him a little door bump. Maybe that would have dragged him back a little more. I feel like I just did it a little too late with the side draft, and then the little door bump absolutely came too late. But I tried, and oh man, it was close.
Yeah, we saw everybody here tonight deal with situations, whether it was having to deal with dirty air and fading back, maybe over abusing their tires on the long run and fading back, getting involved in wrecks. Your car was stout and pretty much clean as a whistle here tonight, up in the top three pretty much the entirety of this race from start to finish. You inherited the race lead after Trey had the speeding penalty there on pit road. How, first off, were you able to keep your car out of trouble? Because it seemed like that was difficult for just about everybody else. And then secondly, talk about the execution all race long, whether it was about positioning yourself, making the right calls in strategy, all of that.
Yeah, so I started 21st, and because I scraped the wall in qualifying, and yeah, that first caution came out, and everybody went in and got gas, I believe, and then at some point we all went in, and I had taken tires like I think it was lap 22, and so then I could have fresher tires than a bunch of other people and kind of flip my position, which worked really well because in the first stage I think I ended up coming across the line like 7th or 6th. And then, yeah, just from there, just kind of tried to save the tire. In dirty air, it was super hard to save the tire. I was searching all over the track. The top was working really well for me. And then once we came into the final stage, I got the bottom working for the car. Yeah, it was just getting runs. And then once Trey got that speeding penalty, and I got that clean air, man, it was just smooth sailing from there. I was hitting the marks every single lap, like it was perfect. And then when the 10 to go caution came out, it was like, man, and then it reset. And I was like, I don't know if the 2 tires is going to work, but it might. But I went with 4, and it kind of worked. It was just a little too late.
I think the big thing, Brock, is I'm going to go ahead and apologize because probably about a lap before that last caution come out, I was like, yeah, look, Brock's not losing this race without that caution coming out, brother. So, sorry.
Yeah, Scott, didn't we just talk about this like last week or something?
Right,
I feel
you're
like
right.
it was just recent.
You're right. Trey actually paid me $5 to call to say that the caution was coming out. So.
Yeah, I believe it. It'd probably be something he did since he was speeding. It's every time. Every single time I'm doing so good, and then something happens, and I just immediately in my mind, somebody's talking about me in the broadcast booth, so that's why it
happened. Congratulations, brother.
Appreciate it.
Well, Brock, a great run for you here tonight. Solid from start to finish. Second place, I know you wanted that one position better, but congratulations on the great run here tonight. Before we let you go, we're going to turn it over to you for thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Yeah, I would like to thank everybody on Whitehead Racing, Trey, Dobbs, Noah, and then Chris for being our little mentor and spotter for Noah at the same time. He kind of keeps us all in check and focused on the race instead of getting bummed out or keeping our head down. So he does a really good job with that. Y'all for broadcasting, everybody that shows up every week, and then Hebka for putting the league on.
That's Brock Whitehead. Great run here tonight, brings home second place under the lights at Las Vegas. Congratulations once again. Best of luck here in these final 2 races of the season, starting next week at Talladega.
Thank you.
And let's go down to victory lane. Dial up 3-time winner, Dalton McKenney. Hey, Dalton, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, how we doing, fellas?
Man, I'll tell you what, we might have to start giving you a nickname or something here, like Mr. Excitement or something. I don't know. Like, we go back to Daytona, you win that thriller there to lock yourself into the playoffs via a victory. We go back to Iowa, you end up having that 4-tire strategy call that got you the victory to advance into the round of 12. And then here tonight, you go the opposite route, decide to go with 2 tires only, and barely are able to hang on for your 3rd win on the season. You had a fast car early portion of this race. We saw the speed out of this 46, ran into some issues, but it looked like that pit crew did a pretty good job of putting it back together, allowing you to be able to get back into this fight.
Yeah, I felt like I was issue after issue, like you said. I mean, even the very first caution, I come down to pit, and I had a car get into me and push me through my pit stall and lost like 10, 12 spots from that. Ended up backwards a couple, 2, 3 different times. Had my own issues exiting pit road. I only made 5 practice laps before this race started. I again, I coach high school softball, so I get home just in time to run these. Got a few laps in. We was fast in qualifying. I knew I had the car and the ability to get back up there. I just was gonna need some luck and circumstance, and I had no business winning that race. But when that caution comes out with 5, 6 laps to go, um, I decided we're gonna put 2 tires on and see what happens. You know, being out of the playoffs now, after missing a couple races and whatnot, you know, it's just kind of here to have fun, try to win it. So I had really nothing to lose. If I put 4 tires on and restart behind them guys, I have zero chance of winning. So it was all about getting the 2 tires, getting out front, getting to the clean air, and then just trying to put enough distance between me and the old tires before them 2 guys got around them. And I mean, one more lap, and I mean, if we were racing to turn one, I was done. I was gonna be toast. So I'm glad it was the exact length of a race it was tonight, and we'll take them however we can get them.
We talked with Brock just moments ago, and he said when you guys had that strategy call, whether you were going to go with the 2 or the 4 tires, he thought coming off of pit road, there's just no way 2 tires are going to work. Was there any point during that green-white checker that you may have fallen into that same mentality as you saw the 71 closing up in your rearview mirror?
Yeah, coming to the white flag when he ran the top in 3 and 4, and I wrapped the bottom. The run he got on me down the front straightaway, I knew I was gonna have to do something different in 3 and 4 that next time coming back to the checkered. You know, I'm kind of against running the top in that scenario because you open up so many lanes for them to drive in there hard and get to your door and wall you, or you know, just get to you at any spot. So I really wanted to wrap the bottom, but I just didn't like my shot, my chances. So I was able to run the top. I got super tight, could not get the throttle nearly as quick as I would have liked. Finally got back to it, and then I knew he's going to be side drafting very aggressive. I wasn't going to be able to avoid it, you know. So I was just kind of at that point hoping I had enough run off the corner to beat him back to the line. I think if he doors me a little sooner, if he gets to my corner just you know, another 100 feet closer to 4, he probably gets me. But yeah, I'm glad it worked out exactly how it did.
Look, I mean, one of the things that we said in the broadcast is I think this was a change of mindset for you. I think certainly at the front end of the year, we talked about, you and I had a conversation about, you know, using the aggression, but being smart about it when you did it. As the second half of the season, I think we've actually seen the best out of you as a driver. Where are you feeling on that scale? Do you feel as if, you know, maybe you've pulled back on the aggression a little bit? What's changed for you? I think is probably the big thing.
I mean, coming into this year, I had like zero experience in these cars, so I was coming every week, showing up every week, and just trying to make it go in a circle. I felt like I had no speed. I didn't feel like I was in complete control of my car to try to go make some of the moves that I would normally do in other cars I'm comfortable in. But as much as I hate to say it, I'd love to just sit here and say that I've gotten faster and I think I'm getting better. It really feels like luck and circumstance. I mean, that if either one of the races I won outside the super speedway race, if we don't get the caution with 10 laps to go, I probably don't have a shot to win either one of them anyways. So I do understand that. I feel like I have gotten faster and more competitive, but there's a lot of really good drivers in this field. So you got to have some luck on your side, but without speed, I wouldn't be in them situations. So I'm happy about that. But I'm yet to just come show up to a track and like dominate start to finish, which is what I would love to kind of make that next step.
Well, you brought up the great point there. I was going to say, don't sell yourself short on luck, because a lot of times you got to have the speed to be in the right position to be able to maybe have that luck go your way. Third win on the season here in the last 3 months after Daytona. We've seen you really come alive here, be able to rack up multiple checkered flags. Congratulations on your victory here tonight. You've got a super speedway victory, and we got Talladega on the horizon, so maybe not outside the realm of possibility. We could see you have a 4-bagger before 2025 comes to a close, but we'll let you get back to your celebrating here tonight in Vegas. But first, we're going to give you an opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Yeah, I got to start by thanking my girlfriend for allowing me to do this as much as I'm able to. And she's the birdies blooms on the car. She's a wedding florist, so She is always real busy with that stuff, and to allow me to come and do this, I really appreciate it. Want to give a big shout out to Johnny Williams. He always paints my cars, vehicles, anything I'm racing. That's the man that painted it. He does a fantastic job. We got another league coming up, so he's in the process of painting me up a truck right now. Can't wait to see kind of what he comes up with there. I want to thank my teammate Rylan. He's getting a lot quicker. I feel like he's right there on the verge of getting one of these wins as well. So shout out to him. Shout out to anyone that puts this league on, all the competitors, and you guys up in the broadcast booth. It's always a lot of fun being able to go back and tune in and watch it and learn. And it helps me a lot moving on to the next, the next race or coming back to this track, being able to go back and watch these broadcasts. Us drivers really appreciate that. So thank you to you guys.
Well, Dalton, congratulations on your third victory on the season. Best of luck here with 2 races still left to go in the 2025 season. Next week at Talladega. Best of luck there.
Thanks, guys.
Dalton McKenney, your winner here tonight at Vegas. 3 victories at 3 different configurations as well. We can call maybe a short track there for Iowa, super speedway at Daytona, and a 1.5 miles here tonight at Las Vegas. Well, Scott, we go into Talladega, a super speedway racetrack, a wild card racetrack, a racetrack where you're kind of more dependent on everybody else minding their P's and Q's because they can determine your fate. 3 spots still remain, 7 drivers still in the hunt, but some interesting paths in how they have to get above that cut line.
Well, the big thing is that Trey Whitehead's in a position where basically the only way out for Whitehead is to not finish the race and to not score points in either of the only 2 stages. So if he puts 5 points up across the 2 stages, he's probably good enough to be a lock-in to the playoffs. He's not an out-and-out lock, but he is so close to being a lock, it is not funny. For everybody else, it's not over. Tom Bourne's +6 to the line. Christian Ruse is in over Noah Jackson by a single point right now. So everybody else, though, that's behind them, Kleinsma needs average stage finishes and a great race finish. He doesn't need to come through swinging the doors. Catalano's in the same position, but slightly worse off. Holland's in a must-win situation for me. I just don't think that you're going to outscore the rest of those guys in terms of points. I think Noah Jackson, the big issue I see heading next week into Talladega is how strong the Whitehead guys have been at the super speedways. It's going to take something to break that up, but if you have a look at who's joined this series and the Flatout Racing Network crew, particularly with Rodriguez and Shane Terrian jumping in as well, you know that those 2 drivers are going to support Tom Bourne. I actually feel like we're going to have one of the best super speedway races of the season. It has the potential to be one of the best super speedway races of the season, but only the drivers can decide if it will be.
You bring up a great point there with the fact that teammates or alliances can really play a factor into who's going to be those remaining 3 drivers in the Final Four, joining Alan Dobbs. And I kind of look at a situation, we obviously know, as you mentioned, Tom's going to have some allies. Christian Ruse has got some teammates that'll be in the field. Noah Jackson, obviously, with Whitehead Racing. But I look at Ryan Catalano. It looks like he's the only full-time driver still for his team. Peyton Holland has a teammate in Matt Davies, but they're a rather small organization. Are these some drivers in must-win situations that are going to have to go out there and maybe make some deals with some other teams, maybe some other manufacturers as well, saying, hey, I'm in a must-win situation. I need allies to help get me to the front. Please work with me.
Yeah, I think they're in the situation where they kind of got it. It's their season on the line and, maybe pay it back. But the other thing is, for the teams that actually aren't in the playoffs, they generally come to this sort of a situation and go, hell yeah, why not? Let's get involved, because then it gives them skin in the game. One of the biggest thing is being able to come to a race and you shove Chris Ruse, you shove, Catalano into the playoffs. All of a sudden you got an air quotes teammate, an adopted teammate that's in the playoffs. So it does give you some skin back in the game. And there'll be some guys out there that, would want to eliminate an extra driver, or want to see somebody not get into the playoffs. So the best way to do that is to find not race them aggressively. It's actually going to find someone to support. If you can shove a Peyton Holland to the front and he wins, you got some skin in the game. You pushed him there, But look, Talladega being the last race before the championship, to me, makes it the near impossible race, because you can never. Things change so much more heading into that race than they ever do for anything else.
And there's just so much that's out of your control where you're not able to basically be the driver of your own destiny. You have to rely on a lot of circumstances to go your way. We heard even tonight's winner, Dalton McKenney, mentioned the word luck. A lot of luck in the closing stage of super speedway races comes into play into who's going to win and who's going to end up finishing second place on back. Of course, as well, Talladega Super Speedway has that extra few hundred feet to the start-finish line from where normally in the middle of the tri-oval would be at Daytona. That can be a huge difference maker as well. So in the case for Dobbs, got to be breathing a sigh of relief. He's locked into the Final Four. Trey White, as you said, if he's able to score some valuable stage points next week, he can maybe let out a sigh of relief heading into Stage 3, locking himself in on points. But there's going to be a lot of nervous drivers that still have a shot of advancing into that championship four when they take to the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway next week. We had a lot of drivers here tonight. Expect to see a lot of drivers next week. That means a lot of points available on the table one way or the other also. So cannot wait for that final elimination race to officially determine who our final championship four are going to be. We hope you will join us next Wednesday night with the green flag flying at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for that race from Talladega. Congratulations again to Dalton McKenney as he wins a thriller under the lights at Las Vegas here tonight. His third win of the 2025 season for the ESports Oval League Grind Cup Series. That's going to do it for our coverage here tonight. We'll see you guys next Wednesday night as we continue coverage of the Grind Cup Series here on FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.